It's like a pizza crunch without the batter. It's like the wood juice without the water. You never get the knickers off of fucking premeditated batter. Premeditated batter.
Before we begin the podcast, people, this is just a quick message for myself to thank you for your loyal and loving support. I wouldn't be sitting in this couch if it wasn't without yous, but I must ask you to support me a wee bit more. My Patreon is available now for subscription. I would ask you, please, for the bottom of your heart and your bank account, come and support them, man. Help me turn this into a full-time job. I've been doing this a couple of years now, and I really want to progress to the next level where I can make endless content. I will always feature guest episodes on YouTube, so never fear, that will always be available to anybody that wants to watch them. But if you subscribe to the Patreon, you will get notified first before anybody of who that week's guest will be. You also have the option to suggest what kind of guests you'd like to see on the programme. I'll also be doing a lot of bonus content. If you remember the solo podcast where I sit on the Patter Lounger and I sit and impart my words of wisdom, that is exclusive to the Patreon. So in order to access them, you must be signed up to the Patreon. I'll also do extra bonus content, for example, reaction videos to tunes, rap battles, to films, to anything that you want to see. Remember, when you are signed up to the Patreon, you have exclusive control. You suggest the content you want to see. What do you want to watch? And I'll do my best to accommodate your requests. I'll also be uploading behind the scenes footage to the Patreon, so how I set up for premeditated patter, what goes on off the camera that you see on YouTube will be available on the Patreon. How much do I ask for this? Ask for a £5 a month. £5 per month is the total. That's all I ask of you, and you will get this endless stream of bonus content. The love you give will also be the love you get. Enjoy the podcast, people. Woohoo!
That's why I'm so good at the hypnosis shows, because I come from a performing arts background.
Really?
Aye. So I used to do a lot of theatre.
Oh,
I
did
play
you?
guitar and piano and stuff as well. So
Oh, did you? Amazing,
I was in
man.
a lot of kind of plays and musicals and stuff when I was younger before. That's why the stage to me is natural, because you find there's a lot of hypnotherapists that will try and be stage hypnotists, and you just don't have it. You know what I mean, it's all showmanship and performance, a lot of it.
I noticed that with yourself. I noticed that when you were doing the with I don't know how you call it. See, when you had Abby, when we were performing the wall and you were doing the drawing, the painting. You were
Mentalism.
The colour. What is it called?
Mentalism.
Mentalism. When you were doing that, I noticed a part of that. Because this isn't the same, right? I used to do a trick. I still do a trick where.
Go on, show me.
I'll show you. I need to get a bit of paper. Right, 2 seconds. I'll do it and I'll start at half. I'll do it.
Is this how the podcast? Have we started recording?
I start recording.
Is this how?
This is how it always.
Is this the level of where we're starting at? Hilarious. Go get me a bit of paper. It's funny, but because people say, oh, I know how to do stuff like that, and they end up showing me magic tricks, and I'm like, my stuff's not magic tricks, it's different. But
This
it's
isn't really.
hilarious. I love it.
This is.
I hope I'm going to be so impressed with this. This will make my day.
So I'm not trying to make this out to be anything special, but
Listen, I was on a podcast the other week, and they were calling it the Amazing Alex. So I was like, I've slowly been discovering as I've been doing these interviews over the past few weeks that everybody's just going to have a franchise off of what I do. So let's see your talent.
yeah, let's see how I do it. Right. So this is something. Right. I learned this in school. It's a good trick to do to people when you're steaming, so it gives you an idea, right?
Right.
I do to people. I used to go on mad benders and that a lot of the time. And
Right.
when you're 2 days deep in a bender, people are all paranoid. Obviously, because they've been up and sniffing Charlie and taking whatever else.
Jesus.
So I would like to perform this wee trick name because it was easy done. So
Was this created when you were half out your tree?
no, somebody done it to me in school, but it came back to me when I was at my tree, and I'm
Right.
like, here, fucking try this.
This can be amazing.
So count how many pieces of paper are there.
And even if I know how this done, I won't reveal it until you've done it, because it'll ruin it. I'll give you your and then I'll tell you how it's done.
Right, you can tell me how it's done. You can tell me. See, to be honest, man, I've told people how it's done, so it's no anything spectacular. It's not spectacular.
I've got high expectations. Right, okay, 6 pieces of paper.
Right, so there, I've got an iPad here and tap of paper, so I've got nothing else. I've got no No paper lying about, so 6 pieces of paper.
Fucking hell, what's
I can
going on
see the
here?
6 pieces of paper back over here.
Six pieces of paper.
Okay, we've counted 6. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions, right?
Right.
And you're going to think the answer.
Right.
So I'll ask you a question, you'll think the answer, and I'll write down what I think the answer is, and I'll scrunch it up, and I'll put it down here.
Yep.
And then I'll ask you what the answer is, and you tell me it, and I'll write it in the next bit of paper, and I'll put it here, just so when it gets to the end, you can't change the answer. So we'll be going off your initial answer.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I've not to say how this is done yet, no?
No yet. Well, do you know already?
Aye.
Fucking hell. Do you want me to still today or just?
No, I mean, show me.
Alright, I'll show you. Let's
Show me.
show the audience. Let's just do it then. Right.
Can you imagine I'm wrong, but that'd be embarrassing, wouldn't
No,
it? Career ending.
Nah, fuck it. I just need to edit that shit out.
Aye, yellow
If this
card.
has made it to the edit, then he's guessed what it is.
Aye.
So think of any place in the world. Think it. It can be a country. It can be a city. It can be.
No hints dropped.
No. Do not look behind you. Do not. Just shut your eyes and think. This is a
Right,
power
okay.
of imagination.
Power of imagination. You sound like me. Let's go. I like it. Okay.
I like it.
I have to shut my eyes.
Shut your eyes. Open your eyes. However
Right,
it's
okay.
comfortable for you to visualise this.
Absolutely. Right.
Aye. So, if my answer here, I'll just stick that here. Before, I'll put my answers down. You won't be able to touch these until we've got the 3.
Sounds
then
good.
That way, just there's no tomfoolery going about,
Yep.
okay?
Absolutely.
So, may I ask you your answer? My answer's here
For the
audience.
for the country I was thinking of, Spain.
Spain, Espanol, I like it.
Spain.
And no, I didn't put the heating on in here, so you would get hot and think of a hot country.
Right,
That's
okay.
not the
Okay.
Okay, right. We've got an answer for me and an answer for you, so let's go for the next one. Let's go for something a bit more unique. Why don't we think of a name? Think of a name, any name. It can be a nickname, first name, second name. It can be the name of a TV show, just anything with some sort of name.
Okay.
We got it?
Yep.
We're locking it in.
Let's do it.
I like it.
I thought you might.
Okay, here we go. We've got 2 there. That's my 2 answers. What was your answer?
5-0.
I like it. I like this guest already. We're not even we're at the 6-minute mark, but
Spelled Fiveo.
5-0. Oh, I like it. It's very Spanish. Okay.
Sticking with the theme.
5-0, and we've got 5-0 in Spain, right. So they were quite. I would say they're quite hard. My brain. I've got a full podcast today. My brain's feeling a wee bit extinguished. So let's make the next one a bit easier. Let's make it a 50-50 answer.
Okay, go for it.
So choose between 2 colours, right? Think of either. We'll go with the theme. Purple or orange. Choose one or the other.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I like it. What'd you go for there?
Purple.
So here we have purple 5-0 in Spain. That is 3. You've got 1, 2 and 3.
Yep.
I feel with the last one, you might have danced between 2.
Absolutely, because
You did.
there was only 2 options.
It was 2, so I feel as if sometimes I like to ask people to settle on the first one they think of, and sometimes I can understand it's choice between that and that, and you're
Absolutely.
choice. So the last one I may have got incorrect, but let's see. There we go.
Okay.
Take your answers and you go open them up. See if I got 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. I'll never be a singer. Although someday I'll talk about that in a minute. Right. Reveal. You'll be close to the camera to reveal it.
This is the first one.
Was that it?
5-0.
5-8. Let's go.
Can you read that?
It's scrunched up. You should have folded it. You got it?
What about there?
Hey, let's. Oh yeah, that's clearer.
Sorry.
Sorry, listen, take my word for it. Take my word for it.
I'm not going to lie.
Right, next one, reveal.
Reveal is orange. I did say, obviously, I was trying to, the brain was extinguished, not, I mean, it was two. That is the hard question, believe it or not.
Yep.
So we've got one more. We have one more.
Yep, let's open it up.
Let's see it.
Would you believe
That
Spain?
there you go. That's the heating. That's the heating turned right up.
That's the heating up.
That's what happens when you get your lecky bills paid, man. But
Well done.
thank you. So,
Well done.
let me guess. I'm going to assume that you're really stumped and you think I'm going to do you a job. Is that
Oh,
right?
I think your next level theatre tour, here it comes.
Did you figure it out though?
I knew it straight away.
Did you?
I
What
knew it
was
straight away. So, you want me to just give it completely away or just tell you in terms that you know that I know?
Right, I do that term because I like doing it to people, I like freaking
Right.
people. I don't want to give my trick away.
So your last question is your first answer, and the rest of it is a delayed response whereby you're getting the answers from the person without them realising any manipulation. Does that make sense for it?
How did
There
you
you go.
figure that out right away? Have you done that before? Is that like pure basics, that one?
It's something you can find off YouTube.
I'm saying that. I learned that in school.
Did you?
I know, somebody done that to
Do you know what? It's funny you say that because the demonstration I seen of that was a school teacher.
Was it,
And she
huh?
was doing it with the kids telling a story.
Right.
Very impressive. Really good learning tool, actually. Really good learning tool.
Well, seeing that, it makes sense how she was doing it to children because it's something I could do to children. They'd be like, what? He's psychic, but see, I'm saying children and madweight cunts. They're the best audience for it. Know somebody that's like a skilled hypnotist like yourself.
Can I give you one thing to improve that?
Right.
So see your last question of your first answer.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously have two options, so it's a 50-50.
Uh-huh.
Make it a double ender so that no matter what it picks, your result is right.
What do you mean double ender?
Like you could do 18 or 81. So no matter what they pick, it's going to be your magician's choice for it.
So what do you mean 18 or 81?
So
Also, it just depends if like 81. It depends what way you wrote it. It was flipped round.
Aye, something not as easy as that, but there's words and stuff like that you can flip and stuff like that make it.
Right, I see.
That
it
makes
then,
sense. So then, depending on the way you open up and present it,
Right, I see. I like that. I'm glad I showed it to you. That's helped me brush up because the last
There you
one
go.
was always pure. That's what I'm talking about. See that I obviously put the act into it. I'm a bit extinguished. See.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to chop this shit out. I'm not letting these cunts know my
I
thing.
wonder how my acting was for being surprised.
It was really good. I thought I had you there, man.
Oh, you'd almost.
Let me stop you right there, pal. Hate to interrupt, but you need to shut your mouth right now and let the big man get yapping. This is a short message for your sponsors, Ross Harper Solicitors. Are you needing criminal representation in court? Do you feel that you and your lawyer don't have the relationship that you think you need for him or her to do the job that they need to get you off? I've got just the man for you. Nigel Scullion at Ross Harper Solicitors is a true embodiment of what it means to be a good lawyer. And I'm not just talking about in the courtroom. Nigel seeks to develop a personal relationship with his clients. He wants to keep you at the courtroom. He's not just wanting to fill his pockets. He wants to get you in, get you out, and set you on a path of freedom. Nigel has got his clientele at his heart. But don't get me wrong, in the courtroom, he is a stallion. He will fight tooth and nail to keep you from going up to the big boy house, or the big girl house, or the big them house. I've known Nigel a couple of months and I've developed a personal relationship with him. He's very relatable. I've met a good few lawyers in my time. Nigel's young and he's feisty and he's ferocious, but he's a friendly guy. Any support you need outside the courtroom, he will provide it for you. And Nigel's the kind of guy that will offer you the kind of support that doesn't need a legal aid certificate signed after it. He's a great guy and an even better lawyer. He comes from a long line of good lawyers. This man has got criminal defence in his genes. Just think about it. Do you want to go to jail or do you want to go home? And if you've not got a home, Nigel's the kind of man that will help you find the correct support services you need, because his work goes far beyond the realms of inside the courtroom. This is a guy that cares about his clients, and he sees them as more than clients. He sees them as people. These people that have, for whatever reason, they've ended up in maybe a wee dark point in their life. He seeks to get them out it and keep them out it. So look no further than Nigel Scullion at Ross Harper Solicitors to support you and your needs and staying out the jail. 0800 11 12 13 is the contact number. If you want to get them online, it's www.rossharper.com. You can direct message him on Instagram at Ross Harper Scotland, TikTok at Ross Harper 61, and you can find him on Facebook at Ross Harper. To some Nigel Scullion up in a short sentence, he's old school with a new energy. Check them out, people. Ross Harper Solicitors. But in the meantime, enjoy the podcast. But obviously, it's amazing to have you on the podcast, Fraser.
Pleasure to be here.
Fraser Penman, the world's most unique hypnotist.
Woo!
Well, for an audience that might not know you, in order for us to gain an insight into
Absolutely.
the type of person you are and what life experiences shaped you into the person you are today, can you tell me what life was like in the beginning for you, what it was like growing up?
So, to officially introduce myself, my name is Fraser, or better known as the world's most unique hypnotist. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, stage hypnotist and mentalist, and as of recently been quoted Scotland's answer to Derren Brown. So stick that in your arse, Derren Brown. Yeah.
Get it right up you, Derren.
Right up you, Derren. Sorry, what was your question?
So what was life like growing up for you?
Life growing up for me was interesting, different. Home life was fantastic. I had a really amazing family, and yeah, growing up was lovely. However, school for me was horrible. You know, kids can be cruel, and being albino, albinism, snowman, whatever you want to call it, kids were cruel. Mm-hmm. Really, yeah, I had a really bad time. Growing up, from about the age of 8 is my first memory of it. Right. I remember walking home and getting rocks thrown at me by a couple of kids, and then phones just started to come along, getting hate mail texts, sitting in the playground yourself, people singing songs about you. And then when I kind of got to about the age of kind of 12 and 13, when you kind of became independent, and I remember Friday night skating was the big thing, and for the couple of friends that I had, that's where we wanted to go. And the friends I had weren't within school, it was kind of around the area that I lived in. Because again, there's not that pressure environment of kind of following this herd mentality of what everybody else is saying. So when I was 12, 13, had a bit of independence, wanted to go Friday night skating. But even when I used to get on the bus, even strangers, adults, teenagers, older boys, or what it felt at the time as older people, would come and look at me and say, your eyes look like a vampire, or why are you so pale? I remember going to a concert and somebody threw a drink over my face because they thought I had talcum powder on my face. It was a really, really bad time. And from, I think it was about 13 or 14, I remember getting jumped off a group of about 15 boys at a bridge. And at that point, it was just that I've had enough. I want to fit in. So from about the age of 14, I dyed all my hair, wore makeup and wore fake tan, and would not leave the house at all. Would not leave the house at all, from being scared of either getting jumped again or just sticking out. I just wanted to walk down the street invisible. So that aspect of things growing up sucked. However, I had such the most supporting family in the world. But it doesn't matter how good your network is around you. If you hear things... Now, all of your parents, no matter who you live with, will tell you you're beautiful because you're the son, and that's their job, and they want to encourage you. But when you hear the complete opposite from so many more people, your thought process begins to believe you're just saying that because you love me, you know. And it doesn't matter. Even growing up and going through college, I stuck with this fake tan, makeup, dark haired life, and it got to the point where I was losing a lot of weight. It got to, I think I lost something like 7 stone in almost a year. I went from like
Really?
18 and a half stone to like 12 stone, from a 38 waist to a 28 waist. And I was probably in the best shape in my life, but I was very unhappy. It got to the point where I got obsessive with it. I was drinking, like, you know, you get like a cup of vegetable soup from like the bakery or something. That would be like my only meal plus a banana, and I was working out every day. I got obsessed with it, absolutely obsessed with it. And anyway, so I continued on. went into further education to university, and I was working as a nurse. I'd always done martial arts growing up with my brother, but he runs his own business, but I was part of that business for a while, and then I wanted to go down the route of having more routine to my life, because as I know now, running a business, it just consumes you. Yeah, it becomes your life, and I wasn't ready for it at that point. This is maybe 18, 19, 20.
So still young.
So I went back and got a job as an early years education teacher, as a nursery teacher, basically. And that was my path, working 4 days a week and then doing a working degree as a graduate. I wanted to go into primary school teaching. And the reason I wanted to go into primary school teaching was because when I was at school and having my bad memories and times, I always wanted to make a difference to somebody. I guess I wanted to fill that void in my life that was still very much open, because when I got counselling and seen psychologists when I was younger, I just couldn't relate. There was something missing, and I don't know if it was the age thing, or I could just tell you've never been bullied a day in your life. I just thought it's counting to 10 and colouring in yellow for how I'm feeling just wasn't cutting it for me. So growing up, I always thought I want to make a difference to somebody else's life at that age group. So that's why I went into education. But I had recently just moved out into my first flat, and I was absolutely skint, as we all are when we first move out. And I remember at university doing this presentation called "What Does Education Mean to You?" And in the same week, only the age 23, I get diagnosed with dyslexia. Now, I'd always struggled having albinism and a visual impairment. You have dyslexic tendencies, but I'd never really officially been diagnosed. I remember being tested for it when I was younger, and they said I had tendencies, but nobody ever diagnosed it. And then I went for this 4-hour assessment. Turns out, quite highly dyslexic. So anyway, I was studying at university and doing this presentation, and then I just had this surreal moment of thinking that I'm just living my whole life as an absolute lie. Just the fakest person, the fakest smile. I mean, you'd come across me and I'd be wearing the tightest muscle fit top and thinking I looked like something at Love Island, but I was so miserable underneath. Couldn't hold down a relationship because you look amazing on a night out, or what I thought looked amazing on a night out, and then it comes to the reality of Monday morning and I'm not wearing the fake tan, or the roots are coming through, and the person that fell in love with you was the person they met in the night out. So how could you ever believe anybody that they love you because you don't look like that, you look like that? And they say, oh, I don't bother if you're wearing that, but I couldn't ever believe it in my heart. So I ended up pushing people away. I could never hold down a steady relationship. I was drinking far too much, and then it just came to the point where I was just so unhappy with myself. I'd finished off my last relationship, was skint, couldn't go out anymore because I had this new flat, and it just came to the point where I didn't want to be here anymore. Now, this thought of suicide had always been creeping around my mind since about the age of 12, just from little things picking through. And I remember for all those years, because people always said to me, did you just wake up and decide? And I was like, no, it was probably about a 10 to 13 year process for me, of it just grinding in the back of your mind. And I never dealt with it. I never spoke to anyone. I never dealt with it. You just got on with it, and it always used to bother me. And what I'd try and do is try and compare myself to other people and their lifestyles and their happiness, and try and duplicate it in a sense, and always fall short. Always fall short, which is just, again, more negativity. And so yeah, it came to the point where I'd been thinking about it for a while, and I never thought I'd do anything because I didn't want to leave behind that destruction and loss, because no mother or father should ever lose their son or daughter. But what happened was the pain just became too much, and I just decided that in 3 days' time I'm going to drink a bottle of vodka, put a plastic bag over my head and suffocate myself. And I was so... I'd researched it, I'd watched it on YouTube, I'd spoke to people who knew people that had been committed suicide, and slyly asked how they done it, and came up with this whole plan, wrote it down and everything. And I remember telling my mum not to stop me. And I can't imagine how devastating that must have felt for your child, who you have experienced all these challenges with him and been in his corner since the day he was born, and gave up multiple things. Like, when I was in drama class, my mum used to physically type out the whole script in large print because the theatre company couldn't do it. All those hours of investment and pleading with the school to get things enlarged and support teachers, and just for me then to grow up and not be happy with what she produced and want to end my life, and for her not to have her youngest son anymore, must have been absolutely tragic. And a lot of people, as I've been getting interviewed over the last few weeks, have asked me, do you think telling your mum was a cry for help? And at the time I would have said no. It was my insurance policy to make sure she wouldn't stop me or phone the police and get me arrested. But now I can absolutely see it probably was. Absolutely was a cry for help. And yeah, so leading up to it, I think I spoke to my brother, who is a personal trainer and runs his own martial arts company, and I remember him saying to me, I don't think you're depressed, like, what's wrong, why are you so unhappy? And I just remember kind of breaking down and speaking to him about how it got to this point. I remember being a little bit angry, actually, like, who are you to tell me I'm not depressed, you know? But everybody else at that point had model coddled you and kind of tiptoed around me and, like, talk to us when you need to and all that, and, you know, I'm here for you. Whether she was just like, come on, you can fix you, you know? Anyway, so I remember speaking to him, and he was really supportive by the end of the call. I don't want MD thinking that it was just like, depression doesn't exist. It's not what it was like. He just knew what would work for me. And I remember speaking to him and saying, I'd love to become a hypnotist, because I've been always fascinated with Derren Brown, and I'd been reading about it months leading up to it, and how it works in the neuroscience and the psychology, and I'd done a little bit of hypnosis and stuff in the pub with my friends and whatnot, and he says, well, why don't you? I went, just moved out, skint, don't have money, don't even know, I'm not even qualified, I don't properly know how to do it, and he says, do it. And I said, well, what if it doesn't happen in 2 years? Do it for 4 years. If it doesn't happen do it for 6 years. He says, if you do something long enough, it will work. He says, what you're doing right now is you're focusing on the 100 gazillion reasons why not to. And he says, you're completely ignoring the one reason as to why you should. And that's your happiness. You know? So I took that, and that was my motivation, my happiness. Like, what can I do with that? What does that mean? Now, I know all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, so I thought, let's give this a go. Let's try this. So that night, just before I went to my bed, I gave myself one suggestion, and I done just a progressive muscle relaxation induction for myself, for anybody that does any meditation or anything. For those who don't, it's just basically counting down in your head to relax yourself. And I gave myself one suggestion, and that was, you are enough. You are enough. One simple suggestion, which, to anybody watching this, what's the big deal in that? But you need to understand that in my head, for being bullied for something that was completely out of my control, for being bullied for just being born, for having the condition that I have, that wasn't in my control. So to tell myself that I was enough, because for years I felt that I wasn't, was huge. But anyway, I went to sleep that night, didn't think much of it. The next day, woke up and just had this absolute urge to shave off all my hair, bin all my fake tan and bin all my makeup, which I could not even leave the front door for over 10 years without wearing fake tan, makeup, or dyeing my hair. And I remember that day, I went to the supermarket that kind of afternoon, and I bought bread, and I remember thinking, I'm walking in here like a big albino, and I don't give a fuck. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't all roses after that. The paranoia of, are people looking at me? I had to fight with it, but I now had this new toolkit this new inspiration of I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve. It was honestly, I always say hypnosis saved my life. And I'm not saying it's the be all and end all. I'm just saying it's another tool for your toolkit. But for me, it worked. And I wouldn't be here or done half the things I've done without it. And from there, I went back to work, took myself back off the sick, and saved up £3,500 of my own money, which, by the way, took ages because I was paying my bills for my own flat. Studied for 2 years on top of a full-time job to get my diploma. Started practicing. Got offered to do my first show for free for my brother for his awards night. That went really well, and here we are 5 years later, been over to America to present at conferences, got my first theatre tour, selling out the Edinburgh Fringe for 13 nights, and couldn't be happier. And worked with all you guys, influencers.
I know.
Mental.
Especially I've experienced it first hand, man.
And it really does sound like an underdog story, and it is, but I always say to people, I've got all this shit wrong with me, and I'm doing something so you can do it. You know, if I've got all these barriers and you're sitting here looking like an absolute model, just using yourself.
Thank you, mate.
You can do it. And I hope people take that with a pinch of salt. Don't sit here and feel sorry for me. Don't sit here and say it's a shame what you went through. Feel energised and being like, he has more barriers than what I do, so let that encourage you and be that push that you needed. And see if you're unfortunately worse off, or I don't know what you would consider worse off now. Take it as motivation to say, he's got an amazing story, but I want to create my own.
That's exactly it. It's a beautiful and really inspirational story.
Thank you so much.
For the first time you told it, and seeing what you're telling me, I felt myself getting a bit emotional, and I don't get emotional.
Well, this has been my thing for 2023. I used to hate talking about being albino. I used to hate talking about, because I spent so long hiding my visual impairment, trying to fit in. So talking about it, and I don't know if you've noticed it, it's still, I'm still working on talking about it. It's different in a setting like this, and I know it's coming up. But see, when you're in a room full of people, and I eventually want to use my platform to get into keynote speaking and motivational speaking. So I'm now, doing all these interviews and press stuff is amazing, because it's given me such new experiences to connect with people and share my story to audiences that I would never have had an opportunity to share it with before. But practice talking about me, because I don't know, have you ever sat and actually spoke about yourself? It's really hard.
It's different. See, for the likes of myself, I'm usually in a setting where I'm asking the questions as such, and I'm focusing on the guest. But recently, I've been doing podcasting where somebody's like, right, just take us back. And you're like, of it, right? You're putting it on.
Honestly, I challenge anybody to sit there and do. It's almost like when you do at school. Remember, you do a personal talk. Do 5 minutes of self-reflection and talk to yourself. It just feels horrible. Now do that with a bit of trauma thrown in. Jesus, what's going on?
You find the more you tell it though, the more, because even you're talking about, like, for instance, a point in your story where you said where a few people kind of pointed out to you when you phoned your mum before you commit suicide that it was possibly a cry for help. Do you think speaking it as you're telling the story, as the more you tell it, the more you kind of understand? Like,
absolutely.
Your thought process at certain periods in your life.
Yep. And I think that's probably the most difficult part to tell. I sometimes, even when I'm telling it well up, and I try not to, and even it doesn't matter how many times I've told it, it's emotional and it's difficult. But you're right. At the time, I had no idea. I just wasn't thinking straight. I had no idea what I was doing. But reflecting on it, that absolutely was a cry for help, because now being a therapist myself and being qualified and knowing a lot more about the brain and your thought process and the neuroscience and mental health as a whole, statistically, people that commit suicide they do it off very quietly. They don't tell anyone. And this is a little bit off topic, but as far as with the mental health thing, when I'm doing mentalism performances, like we done something with that key and belief, and it's outstanding some of the things that happen and the connections we can build with people. But I'm now actively trying to relate my story, so it'd be like a 1 in 5 chance for the key is actually of men between the ages of 18 to 30, 1 in 5 men think about suicide or that. And I want to connect an audience onto a bigger level, not just entertain, but deliver home a message. And that's why at every show I talk a little bit about my story and a little bit about my background, so that to spread awareness for mental health, because I'd like to think that I'm maybe one of the success stories or happier stories that you hear from it. And what better way to use your platform than for positive, especially when you look like Olaf, like me, and just kind of sticking at the crowd, you know. So yeah, but no, I reflecting on it, it absolutely was a cry for help.
And it's great when you talk about, like, when we talk about the key in the hole scenario, what we've done there.
The what in the hole?
The key in the hole. Is that right?
Can I just let the podcast know just now that the key is not an innuendo for anybody. Key is not a name.
I know, it suddenly sounds dirty.
In fact, it sounds worse if we say it's an inanimate object. Like, what have you been sticking the key in? Podcast is sort of went south.
But
goodbye corporate work.
There was cameras, there was no dodginess. But so when we talk about, like, when we were doing that exercise as well, but see, when you actually talk about 1 in 5, like, men between the ages that they think about suicide, that is a great way to get that message across.
Absolutely.
It does get spoken about, but it doesn't get spoken about enough. And with the way you do, like, you're showing that kind of stuff, like, people are engrossed. Like, see, like, maybe somebody's doing a stand-up or somebody's playing music, there's chances where people will get distracted in that and talk. Where a hypnotist show or the mentalism side of things, you're watching because either you're intrigued or you're critical. You're trying to figure out, right, what's happening here. I want to see.
I love this, yeah. And the good thing about, so I get a lot of my inspiration from Derren Brown. And what sets Derren Brown apart from other mentalists and hypnotists and psychological illusionists is his ability to grab an audience, his showmanship, his misdirection. It's on another level. And I have never seen anybody take that approach to what he's doing since Derren Brown. Now, of course, you have some amazing mentalists out there, but I wanted to, so my passion is to take an old age art and put a modern twist on it. Now, typically hypnotists are of older males swinging watches and whatnot, you know. I want to be rocking on with my 3-piece suit and my Converse and bring a whole different light to it, and not doing the cringy things and doing things that are so relatable and making it cool again. I remember doing a post the other day and writing, I want to make hypnosis cool, and that's getting the influencers, getting the celebrities, bringing a whole modern twist to it. And with the mentalism, it takes me ages, right? People think I just rock up and do this stuff, right? It's not at all. Yes, I have some abilities and gifts, which I'm very thankful for, but a lot of hard work goes into this stuff. I might learn something, or I might know the framework as to how something is done, and it'll take me 4 to 5 months. It took me 1.5 years to write my show.
Really?
1.5 years to write my show.
I can believe that though, because see, as much as it's like, if would see your show, see what we done with the influencers, was that your kind of basic show? Is that what you would do in a show?
Nope.
Or was that different?
There's similar stuff to it, but everything you seen on that influencer thing had been performed live for the very first time.
Right, so we were kind of like privileged to see that.
You were the monkeys, literally.
I like it. What monkeys?
You know, listen, I've got a theatre tour coming up. It can't be going wrong in the theatre tour.
No, definitely. Well, if it goes anything like it went that day, it'll be going smashing.
It was absolutely brilliant. But again, you can then take. I love it because you came to that and you've seen the results of things. And then you can come see something similar to that again. It'll be a completely different result. Because you'll be like, oh, he's not a magician. It's not the same result. It's never the same result, ever. Because everybody has different thoughts. Everybody has different thought processes. And it takes so long for me. So for those of you who don't know what a mentalist is somebody who aims to make a connection with your subconscious mind on a level that you won't understand, to try and persuade you and influence you in a way that your conscious mind wouldn't understand. So for example, sharing stories and communication with you on a different level, that you start to question the stories you're telling yourself and how you interpret that. So not the stories I'm telling you, but the stories you're telling yourself. And then from then what happens is we create these predictable behavioural patterns, and that's how I can get my information to create these amazing moments.
Okay. Okay, so see, for example, when we talk about mentalism, would we, if you're alright with me talking about this,
Absolutely.
I can edit this out. When we talk about the exercise you done with Abby, where it was you were matching the colours, would be classed as mentalism?
Yep.
Okay. So see, you said it was hypnotism was the thing that first interested you, but it was like, at what point is mentalism and hypnotism, are they kind of like co-partnership, or did you take interest in one that led to another?
They're miles apart. So a lot of hypnotists come in as they are magicians, and then they go into hypnosis.
Right.
Okay. I can't shuffle a deck of cards. Okay. I'm not a magician. I don't know any magician secrets. I'm not in any magic circles or anything like that. Just not a magician. Not a magician at all. So I've always been hypnotist first. Mentalism came about because when you first start off doing your hypnosis shows, you're not doing the 500-seaters. You don't have the amazing lighting and the tech team behind you. You're not getting the big paying shows. And it's hard to get people up on stage. I know a lot of people think that I pick people. I don't. I ask for volunteers. I always have. I'll never use actors or stooges. That's not what I do. So my show is just as organic to the core as it can get. And if nobody volunteers, I don't have a show. So what I started doing was mentalism. And you can see how creating these moments of getting inside people's minds and coming up with these amazing predictions that you just would have no idea how I can do it, and connecting with you on a level at the very start of a show, people's mouths are dropping and they're thinking, well, if he can do that, he can definitely hypnotise me. So when it comes to me asking for volunteers, no questions asked. You have people coming up wanting to volunteer. And then just as it came to it, it just grew arms and legs, and then you practice these things, you discover more about it. I love the thing they do with the colours is very close to what's the word? I'm so dyslexic.
Telekinesis.
Telekinesis. Very similar to that. So I can do another thing where I could sit you in a chair and you in a chair, blindfold you both, tap you on the shoulder, and both of you would feel it.
Really?
Yeah, and that's very similar to what I was doing with Abby with the colours. I'm all about getting on Abby's brainwave patterns, and you'll notice when I'm speaking to her, I'm asking her about memories and thoughts, and from the way people answer these things, because communication is made up of body language, tone, and it's actually only 7% of words. Yep. So the rest of her communication is all giving me thoughts and feelings, and I'm just going off my instinct. So that's why sometimes you'll see me pick up something and change my mind. Don't always get it right, but I'm getting better at it as it goes along.
See for the likes of when we're talking about this, and it's all going off like people's like vibes, pretty much their thoughts and their answers. See, do you believe anybody could, like, if they trained hard enough, do it, or do you think it takes a certain type of person to be able to study this and become like as skilled as you?
So
it's okay, mate. If you want to blow your trumpet, be my guest.
No, not at all. I don't believe I'm any better than anybody else. What I do believe, though, is obviously being visually impaired. One of my senses are impaired. Okay. Now, there was a fantastic neurobiologist. I can't remember the life of me her name, but she came up with this, and you can Google this. It's absolutely real. She came up with this theory called the plastic fantastic brain phenomenon. And what that basically means is that when one of your senses is impaired, another one of your senses is heightened.
Okay.
So since a very, very young age, you could be sitting in the next room having a quiet conversation, and I could be in here playing the PlayStation, and I could come in and tell you what you've just spoke about.
Really?
Yep. My senses just seem to be very heightened, and I found as I've got older, my ability to connect with people, and just like I used to have. I don't believe I'm psychic. I'm not even too sure if I believe in psychics myself. I'm not here to convince you yes or convince you no, but I used to have these visions and thoughts of people saying a certain sentence or a certain song coming on, and the next day it would happen, or in some different formats. So I don't know. I believe that my ability to be able to connect with somebody is very, very special. However, I need to learn how to people profile. So a lot of the time, especially with mentalism, I'm looking for microfilament movements in your eyes, or the way you move the hand or your leg or your tone or your pitch. these are all ways where I'm getting information from you, which makes sense when you say that only 7% of communication is made up by words and the rest is all tone, body language, all that stuff. Okay. So the short answer is yes, anybody can do it, because there is no, don't get me wrong, people will sell you stage hypnosis courses, but there's no qualification to become a stage hypnotist or mentalist. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of will, and a lot of creativity. And it's the difference between a good performer and a fantastic performer is how you build the story. How can people relate to it? And that's what Derren Brown does so well, and that's what I'm trying to achieve.
Aye, and you do it really well, Steve.
Thank you.
You touch on your own story, because I believe you told me at first a lot of it was to do with like the person being hypnotised needed to have like a certain level of trust. And then I felt when you told your story and that kind of thing, it made people feel at ease.
You can relate to it, yeah. You know that I'm not gonna.
Journey.
Yeah, because I'm not an X-rated hypnotist, and I never will be, because as well as entertainment, I have a passion of doing corporate and keynote speaking and sharing my story and sharing the difference a positive mindset can have and what you can achieve for it. Not only by sharing my story, I found there was a massive gap in the market for motivational speakers. Not in the sense of people not achieving great things, but what you would do is you would find out or attend these conferences where people would speak about their amazing achievements, and what it would leave me, I can't speak obviously for everybody else, but I'd feel a little bit degraded in myself, thinking, oh my goodness, they're amazing, but how does that help me? They've not told me anything that's going to help me. They've told me about what they've done in their journey to get to where they are. So I created a presentation called Mindset for Success. That's copyrighted for anybody that wants to see that. It's called Mindset for Success, and I take 3 simple psychological techniques and apply it into business to help companies achieve, whether it be for profit, health and well-being, or their goals or anything like that at all. And people can apply it in their personal life as well as their business life. And I actually give everybody a self-help toolkit to take away, so that after the presentation you don't need me. You have the tools to be able to start changing your own mindset for yourself, so that everybody can go away and hear my story and feel inspired, and then they see what I'm talking about, because I literally get people up on stage and hypnotise them at the end to show that a thought creates a feeling creates a behaviour. So for example, if you think that your arm's stiff and rigid, then you will start to feel stiff and rigid, and you will believe it, so therefore your body reacts to it, right? That's no different from you at the start of the year. In business, everybody says, I'm going to make this amount of money this year, right? Whether you're in business or not, we all say, I'm going to make this amount of money this year. So if you're in sales, once you said, I'm going to make 40,000 this year. So say you have an all right first half of the year, you've made 20,000, second half 10,000, and then you have a really good third trimester, you make that last bit of money up to make your 40,000. For that last period of the trimester of the financial year, you start to see the friends, your colleagues, you don't really start to try anymore because you've made your goal. But you have the ability to do so much more. So what happens if that person with the ability to make 80,000 comes in with that 80,000k attitude? They're not only going to do better for themselves and be more switched on and productive, it's also going to be beneficial to the boss and the big CEOs in the company in general. Everybody wins. Productivity goes up, and the person's mood and want and mental stimulation goes up, and all the rest of it. So that's, because as soon as people hear hypnosis as part of one of the tools for corporate, they all go, bums start to pucker, but when you start to explain it, well, how often do you tell your colleagues to think like the customer? Get into the mind of the customer. Do you set goals? Do you set SMART goals? Yeah, you eliminate distraction and want things to be obtainable, reachable, time consumed. So you want to take away all these other exteriors to make sure you focus and achieve your goal. Well, what's hypnosis? Focus and concentration, eliminating distraction. We're doing these things all the time. NLP, visualization. All businesses use this. So as well as the entertainment side, I want to deliver that message across and start doing work like that. And then after seeing that presentation, they can then go home with some techniques that I've showed them to start applying it in their own life without me. Because a lot of these people, or a lot of these trainers you get in, you need to get them in 2, 3, 4 times different parts of the year. Come get me in once. And what I'd really like to do is, for people who've been off long-term sick like myself, when you come back to work, you get handed a leaflet or you maybe get 4 counselling sessions if you're lucky. People aren't trained or equipped how to deal with mental health now. I would love to work on a consultancy basis with a business to create a health and wellbeing program for people being off long-term sick, so that on their phased return to work, they can maybe get 2 months worth of free hypnotherapy 1-to-1. And that hypnotherapist is in there 2 to 3 days a week. Say it's a big company of 200 employees. I would like to, of those 2 days, that everybody gets 1 hour of health and wellbeing. So they all come to me, team by team, for an hour's meditation. Might be, so team 1's on a Tuesday, team 2's on a Friday, or something like that. And that just gives people a break from that constant pressure of target selling and meeting these goals. It can be their time to relax, their fun hour. Oh, this is the time we really look forward to spending with Fraser, just to completely switch off. It's like some companies offer massages. You wouldn't believe the difference it will make to people's work ethic when you give them a wee bit of a break. And then obviously people returning from work, you can spend time with them privately doing hypnotherapy 1-to-1, so that they're ready to return to work. Because when COVID hit, I discovered that my diary was going off the rocket, because people couldn't adjust from being so busy to doing nothing. But then people couldn't adjust from doing nothing to going back to being busy again after COVID. And I thought, my goodness, this must, and I experienced it myself when I was off long-term sick with my mental health. I thought, there's nothing. You just get flung back in. There's no, and I've spoke to CEOs now, and the CEOs now of businesses, and they say, you're right, we're not equipped to handle this. We get given a leaflet, contact the CAMS team or contact employee support. You'll get some counselling. And I've been through the counselling. It's not taking anything away from counsellors, but it wasn't for me. And I'm not saying hypnotherapy is the way forward either, but I could assist in some way, shape or form.
So you touched on hypnotherapy there, and what people don't know, you're a qualified hypnotherapist. I
am, yeah. I've got a clinical diploma and certified as a clinical hypnotherapist. And between that, there's lots of different things like cognitive behavioural therapy, psychodynamic analysis, sports enhanced development. So I'm not as dumb as I look.
So at what point during your journey was attracted you to the field of hypnotherapy?
Well, to start with, because I started from the stage stuff. I started doing the stage hypnosis, and I was convinced in my head that because I had no qualification or nothing backing me, nobody would believe I could hypnotise anybody. So to begin with, it was to give myself some legitimacy, to be honest. Well, I've got a diploma. I mean, long time to study for a bit of legitimacy, but in my head that's what it was. But as I done more of the diploma and started to work with clients, the buzz I would get from doing stage hypnosis or street hypnosis to helping somebody, just sometimes the emotion of relief to helping people become the best version of themselves is absolutely magical. And that related back to what I wanted to do as a wee boy, was to change one person's life. And yeah, still doing it now. Even though I'm busy with the stage stuff, I'm still doing it now. And I always say to everybody that even if you can't afford therapy or anything, reach out to a message. I'm never going to not answer somebody's message. Well, unless you're a cock, then you're
don't
block.
Unless you're literally a cock, so send you a dick pic, just don't.
Aye.
It's no nice.
Especially one of the big hook ones of.
I thought this guy will block you in advance. You'll see it coming.
No, it's a no. Ravy Davy. Done.
But see, what are the kind of issues somebody would come to you as a hypnotherapist? What have you dealt with in the past? Are you able to shed light?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. It's I can tell you some stuff that people came for. Obviously, it's very generic and whatnot. But people would come and see me for anything from back pain to, I've worked with athletes who are leading up for big fights, to help them get into the right mindset to be winning, as you know. Help people with the usuals is stop smoking, weight loss. Anxiety seems to be a massive thing right now. And that's one of the most complicated things for me, because anxiety, I need to find out where this problem's coming from, and it can be an array of things masking it, if that makes sense. So that can sometimes be it's not just a one session, but things like stopping smoking, one session. Things like chronic pain, one session. Phobias and fears, you wouldn't believe how many phobias and fears are out in the world, one session. These things can all be done in about an hour's time. Loads of stuff. Psychodynamic analysis, parts therapy, child regression, loads of stuff. loads of stuff. I had somebody that was scared of flying, now goes flying. Had somebody that was scared of the dentist, now goes to the dentist. Somebody else had came through some hardship and they used to go horse riding, they're now back horse riding. Brilliant. It's awesome hearing about some of the stories that come away from it.
So see, you say like that, like say a lot of them you've dealt with, you can deal with in one session. Is that one session for life?
Yep.
That's totally done?
Yep.
Really? Because that's really interesting to hear, because I was actually in the gym earlier and I was talking to two people that own the gym, and then I was telling them about yourself, because I was saying I was going to get hypnotised and that.
Tell them that I need to come to the gym. What I've discovered since doing these interviews is I am a fat bastard, and there's no lighting, there's no angle that can hide. My chin's got chins. My chin's dating my third chin. So
I feel you. Camera's a bastard.
I'll be coming to the gym. I'll start Monday.
That's it. Start after the weekend.
Start Monday.
Get your fraps in. But they were talking about it because it's hypnotherapy. That's like because you can talk about hypnosis and that kind of stuff, and people are and if people have got their own opinions about it.
Yep,
hypnotherapy, like somebody can go through like a session where they can get rid of smoking. Do you ever work with like kind of drug addiction or anything, or even coming off medication?
So different. So I'll not. Doesn't matter what condition, right? Whether it's anything to do with like anxiety or drug addiction. So if you're not medically fit for therapy, I will not work with you. So for example, if you're on psychotic medication, I cannot work with you. If you're pregnant or under the age of 18, I cannot work with you. Well, under the age of 18 you can, but there's a bit of a process I need to go for to make it work. But yeah, I've worked with alcohol abuse. I've worked with drug abuse, cannabis users, people who ecstasy, lots of different drugs. And again, long as if they're medically cleared and there's nothing going on psychologically, then absolutely. Things that I tend to stay away from and don't work with for hypnotherapy, obvious reason, is like bipolar and schizophrenia and stuff like that, because that person's not ready for therapy.
I can imagine, because it's almost getting in somebody's head, and then if they're mentally not 100%, and as a way to describe it.
Yeah, but it's bringing it down to another base level, right? Stop smoking. So I've got one client that says, I've just had a heart attack. I hate the taste of smoking. I hate the smell of smoking. My doctor says I really need to stop. I just can't break the habit, but I hate it. I'm almost in tears at night time because I hate it that much. Then you've got client 2. Hiya pal. My wife wants me to chuck these fags. I love a good fag, but I'll come see you. Who's stopping smoking?
The first
client
one.
1. Aye. Client 2, I'm not even taking you on because your mindset's not there.
Right.
I have a very strict policy and process of consultation I do before clients. 1, because I'm really selfishly proud of my success rate. And 2, don't waste your money. If you're not ready for it, don't waste your money, because therapy's not cheap. So why would you waste your money? Again, and the price is a certain price because you want somebody to invest in themselves. When people invest in themselves, they tend to really want to do it as well, you know. People tell me all the time, oh, you're quite expensive. I say, well, that's fine. 1, it's my platform, and 2, find somebody else that's cheaper. You came to me. I'm here to get results and help people change. Now with therapy, there's never a guarantee, but you wouldn't believe the amount of people that come to me who say they've seen a hypnotherapist and it didn't work, and they come and see me within an hour, they're cured. And I said, well, what's the difference? I said, well, did you check to see if your last therapist was insured? Did they have a qualification? Did they have a diploma? Did they offer to show you any of these things? And a lot of people come to me and they have consultation forms and waivers and health and safety things to fill out. I didn't need to do this at the last therapist. Well, maybe the last person you've seen wasn't really a therapist. So I always say to people, if you were to go see a personal trainer, you'd watch the videos on the internet. If you wait to see a physiotherapist, you'd make sure they had the qualifications. Why treat your mental health any differently? Make sure you do your research.
Aye, totally. And that's it. The price is a price for a reason, because it's like, end of the day, you know your worth, you know you get results, you're going it, and you've put, as you say, you've invested countless hours. Not, what is it they say?
Oh no, it's not to do with that. Cost 11. Cost 11.
Bump
it right up. I'm kidding on.
He's no cheap.
He's no cheap.
But of course, it's the same as well. See if you charge it cheap, people, why is it so cheap? Obviously, it doesn't work. Just people are people, you know what I mean? They always question prices and stuff. But that's the thing. End of the day, if it works, as you say, you can pretty much cure phobia, smoking in an hour. If an hour.
No. I can assist
It can assist. You can assist if somebody really wants.
Nothing's 100%
Sorry, I don't
guaranteed.
want to sell that there. Apologies.
Nothing's 100%. It can have a high success rate, but I never say to MD it's a guarantee.
There's no guarantee.
No
See,
guarantee.
that's that honesty as well, because you'll probably get some people. Because I remember,
Because then you'll get people coming back to you, and then they've now got the mental battle with themselves, saying, "Oh, I thought it was a guarantee. Oh, it's not a guarantee. I'll not bother." The fact that you're now saying you won't bother means you're not ready for the mindset for it. Whether somebody's like, "Oh, this is on me. It's the effort I put in. I understand this. I'm ready for the next step. Let's go."
So it's pretty much a tool that assists something you need to really kind of implement in your own life.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. It's like let's change it. I say to you, there's a puppy for sale. This amazing puppy. It's £800. It's 6 weeks old. It's amazing, beautiful golden Labrador. Okay, lovely. Do you want it?
Aye.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you the same puppy, but there's no fee. What's your first instant reaction? What's wrong with the puppy?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
If it's too good to be true, it often is.
Probably is.
Yeah.
Probably is. You're totally right. What is the strangest request you've ever had?
Right, this is mental, and I was speaking to. I'm so glad you asked this, because the last interview I done forgot to ask me this, and I said you wouldn't believe the weird shit I get. Honestly, my DMs are register material. I had somebody that contacted me that fancied a person and wanted me to hypnotise that person to be their boyfriend. I'll pay you good money.
Shut up.
Like, let me just process that. I pay you good money. Sound, mate. Like, I don't even answer that. What do you say to that? Like, oh, I know worries, mate. Do me a favour, just tie him up, throw him in the back of your car, bring him up to the house, and an hour's work.
That is fucking mental. See, because that's another question I was going to ask. Like,
Oh, it gets worse.
all right, keep going.
It gets worse. What was the other one I got? So you get these. I'm so getting cancelled. You'll need to edit some of this stuff out. You get these like sex hypnotic groups that people will follow and all that stuff. And I remember somebody screenshotting a video of me doing an instant induction, like similar to what I was doing with you at the filming day, right?
Okay.
And they're just like, "Oh, I love the way you drop people so quickly. It's amazing. I love how quickly I'm pushing the block button because you're going away." That is my response. In fact, where's my phone? Have we got any just now? There's some weird ones that come up. Honestly,
I've got time.
It's weird, but constantly thinking you've got a duty of care to yourself as well as the public and also your brand. I never wanted this to become a business. I'm very fortunate that it has become a business. And I'm working hard now that I'm here, so I wouldn't ever put myself in jeopardy. But yeah, people try and have pops at me all the time.
I can
Absolutely.
imagine. Because see, that's what I was going to ask. See if we compare it. I know you say you're not a magician, but see if we look at like, if somebody becomes a magician, they enter like the Magician's Guild. Is that what it's called? They enter like this. If it's not the guild, it's called. It's
The
like
Magic Circle.
The Magic Circle, the Magician's Guild. I don't know where I got that from, but the Magic Circle. Where
See, even if I was in the Magic Circle, do you think I would be revealing if I was?
No, totally not.
But what I can tell you, the more you think it's done, the further away you are. And I'll leave you with this: hypnosis isn't what you think it is; it's what you think it is.
I like that. It's dead mysterious. But see, what I was actually going to ask.
Cool.
So, see if we look at like the Magic Circle as such, where I think
We keep talking about this magic thing, right? And my partner at the time, my partner used to say, "Oh, he's like a magician." I'm not a fucking magician.
But I'm actually not even the only reason I'm using the Magic Circle. Right,
I know, I'm winding you up,
need
it's
to-
fine.
You need to fit like a certain category to enter it. Once you enter it, as it's dead secret.
It's like the X Factor. You need to be overweight, have a disability, and been through hardship. It's 3 yeses.
So
That's you in the Magic Circle.
So see, say like if we're talking about hypnosis as such or hypnotists, and you talk about there's people what are, can you hypnotise this guy to fancy me, that kind of thing. What is there stopping somebody entering into hypnotism or becoming a hypnotism for malicious reasons? Like somebody that goes, I want to hypnotise people to do shit, like dodgy shit, bad shit. Is there a way they can be excommunicated?
So
is there a way
there is a law under hypnosis. So there's the Hypnosis Act. Oh, I should really get this right. 1982, I'm sure, and it's got a whole list of things of what we can and cannot do. Do people follow it? I don't know, but I know I certainly do. I need it for my insurance and my governing body and all the rest of it. Now, there is, of course, the dark side to hypnosis, and people, and it can be very positive because couples use it for sex therapy and all the rest of it, and you do get hypnotists that do that to help people reconnect and all the rest of it.
Right.
And there is some crazy X-rated stuff you can do with hypnosis, having gained consent. And if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. But I'd rather not.
It's a bit of grey area, I think, isn't it?
It's not worth my brand.
Definitely no, because once
you
you
get requests for it now. No.
Nah, better have no mentioned in there. I just always wondered because see when like you hypnotised us, I swear to God, if you'd have told me to suck your dick, I'd have done it.
Yeah, so this is the thing,
I
right?
wonder sometimes if that was in the wrong hands, that could be dangerous.
No, it's absolutely is, and I suppose you've got your own moral compass for it. Now there is hypnosis isn't mind control, but there is definitely grey areas of what you can and can't do. But you need to remember, everybody being hypnotised. Sometimes I would give suggestions and they wouldn't follow it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they would. So it's really, is it the hypnosis that's doing it, or is it the person that wants to do it? You know? So it's different. I could give the same suggestion to you as I give to somebody else, and there's completely different reactions either way. So it's not the hypnosis, it's the individual personality. But because they're in that heightened suggestibility state, it could be dangerous. But what interests me more just now is like hypnosis is being used as a study right now in a university in Scotland, that you can go through surgery without any pain relief just being hypnotised.
Really?
Yep. So that's. I think we'll see that on the end. I think we'll see hypnosis on the NHS in the next 20 to 30 years.
Really? Is there actually like in conversation for it?
So there's been studies that people have had open surgery just being hypnotised. No anaesthetic.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But I done an experiment where I put a needle through somebody's hand with no anaesthetic, no pain relief. They put the needle through their own hand and they didn't bleed.
Really? In fact, so who was it? I know it's maybe not so much a hypnotherapist. Was it David Blaine? He done something like that. Did they not get Kanye West to put like a needle through his hand? They never bleed.
I can do stuff, yeah. And don't quote me on this, but I think it's actually if you're relaxed and your blood pressure's all the way down, if you pinch a certain part of your skin and whatnot and put a needle through it, of course if I was to do it or you were to do it, we'd feel the pain and therefore your hand would start to react, your heart rate would go up, blood would rush to it and you would bleed. If you're not feeling that pain, everything's chilled, so there's no need for blood to rush to the surface, so there's no need for you to bleed.
Right, I see. So when blood rushes to the surface of it, an injury such that is like a kind of trauma response by the body.
It's almost like bruising, isn't it? What is a bruise? Bruise is just blood cells clumping together.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when they say if you bang yourself for the first couple of minutes, rub the area, because you're spreading the blood cells back out so it doesn't bruise. Bruising is your body's response to healing.
I see. Very interesting.
It is.
It's really interesting.
I'm a big geek for neuroscience. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Was that, neuroscience, did you study that as part of becoming a hypnotist, or is that just something extracurricular?
No.
Do you have to study that bit, or do you think that enhances it?
Yep, it's part of the diploma. I actually first discovered neuroscience when I was studying child development at university. Got into education, I was learning about the fine and gross motor skills and the cognitive behaviour of how children develop and the processes and stages of it, and it just fascinated me. So then when I got into the kind of hypnosis world, when I was learning about all the brainwave patterns and what they mean and what they do and stuff and all the neuroscience behind it, I was just like, this makes sense, I understand it now. Because before I thought it was all actors and stitches as well.
Really? But I want to talk about hypnotism.
Aye, that's how I got into it, that's how I was curious. I just thought there's no way you can... I remember sometimes going up to my mates confidently after watching a few YouTube videos going, sleep! Nothing happened. And I thought, what's going on here? Till I learned the process.
Yeah, I see. So how long did it take for you to learn the process before you could actually put somebody under?
About a year.
A year?
About a year.
And you'd spent a lot of time, I remember you telling me you were spending like 8 hours a day training?
8 hours a day. 8 hours, I had some holidays, I had nothing else to do. And then I used to come home from work and honestly from about 5 o'clock to about 1 in the morning every night, just watching tutorials, how to do it, the process of it. And then while studying my diploma at the same time, it was all I kind of blended the two worlds in one.
Right.
And yeah, I still love it. I still watch YouTube hypnosis stuff daily. I never stop learning. I love it so much. I'm weird, but I love it.
No, it's definitely, you found something that you're really so passionate about, and because you've got to this stage now, I think surely by now you've developed that self-belief, like, look, I can make this as my career.
Yeah, it's the same. I remember before we went to that Influencer Day filming, you all said, you're nervous in case people don't get hypnotised. I said, everyone's getting hypnotised. And what happened? Everyone at the very start went under and got hypnotised. 3 people came out it. Now, going on statistics for performance hypnosis, it's around about 10% of the room. So if we had 25, I should have got 2.5 people. I got 21 under, confidently. Why? Because you were all there and you all believed in me. And you're like, well, what if this? Are you nervous? I was like, no, this is going to work. I do this all the time. It'll work. And then when it did work, I'm like,
I loved how you kept that statistic till the end, because I think if you said the statistic,
if I told you that, then it takes away your belief, right?
Definitely.
So.
And it's just having that trust and that belief in that you could do it.
I need to ask you a question, and I always like to, I know you're not a hypnotist, so I'd love to ask you this. And I was saying this to Gary Fald when I was speaking to him, the comedian. Imagine going out into a stage of people, whether it be 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, whatever it may be for the show. Imagine you going out and having to give a performance unscripted, as in you have no idea what's going to happen. You might have an idea as to what you want and what music and stuff's going to play, but everybody responds to your suggestion different every time you do it, because no person is the same. So imagine you going out in front of a whole room, first of all not knowing if you're going to have a show, because you need to get people on stage, and if you don't get people on stage you don't have a show, and then not knowing how people are going to react. How would you feel going out on stage and doing it every night after night after night? I say it's like the worst torture pain ever.
Nervous wreck, man.
I say it's like the worst torture pain ever, but do you know what? That's what makes it exciting.
I totally.
I'll never get bored of it because it's just different every time. Love it.
I know, I could imagine, because see if I linked it to myself, as Gary Fawkes, he's a comedian, he's performing, he's like perfecting like maybe a 10 minute, 20 minute, 30 minute set.
He's got
like,
a script, but he's learning
that's what I'm saying.
Word for
exactly, it's like you're performing as such, and that's not taking anything away from the magic of it. Like myself, I make music, I'm playing songs that I've played fucking countless times, I know them word for word, I can fucking sing them with fucking blindfolds on and my ears done.
The only way I could relate to it is by comedians dealing with heckles. Heckles or on the spot audience interaction, you know, reading the room. It's similar to that. I suppose it'd be like you singing a song and getting a request for a song that you've never really sang before, but you give it a go.
Or even freestyling or something?
Every night.
Every night. I think the only person I've heard of doing that was Billy Connolly. Whenever he used to perform stand up, he never used to write it.
Oh no, the show's been written, so I've learned my script and my lines and everything what I'm going to write, but I've no idea what's going to happen.
Right,
I've no idea if I've got a show.
Right. So it's all dependent on the audience itself. So there's a lot of improv as such there. So you need to kind of work.
Not so much improv. It's just you're thinking about a lot in your head. Health and safety is the number one thing, because hypnosis already gets a bad name. So my mission is to make it more modern and trendy and open and teach you. You would not believe how many people have no idea what a hypnotist is, or have never been to a hypnosis show. Don't know what it is, especially the younger generation now, because there isn't many of us.
You're right. It's a very interesting thing. It's always interested me. I only ever seen a hypnotist on stage when I was on holiday, and I think at the time I was too young and watching. I was always like to get hypnotised, but as you say, it's a lot older generation. I think you could like tap into that younger generation. Do you think you're like the youngest hypnotist performing right now? Is there anything younger?
I'm sure you could go on YouTube and find a 7-year-old hypnotist. Right? I'm sure you could, but as far as like, I don't know, classed as a business, I suppose, probably maybe the youngest in the UK.
The youngest, most unique hypnotist?
Most unique hypnotist. I'm the only, you find me another albino in the world as a hypnotist, the only one in the world.
I like it, it's a niche.
Only one in the world. Mate, you gotta make some money somehow.
That's a selling point.
The USP.
That's it, it's embracing your individuality and making it work for you.
And people always think some of the stuff I do on stage is absolutely outstanding. Right? The hardest part for me is making this a business. I'm a performer, I'm not a businessman. And that's the bit I'm struggling with. I now need to turn what I love into a career. Which, by the way, is exhausting and draining, and the best thing I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing. People always say if you're good at something, then you tell the world. If you're amazing at something, people tell you, and that's how this became a business, by people saying, "Can you come do this? Can you come do that?" And I'm ever so privileged to do what I do. Love it.
You're amazing at what you do.
Thank you so much.
You're really
I
good.
Appreciate that.
At what point did you realise it could become a business? At what stage were you?
When I invested in Mentor and found out how much money they made. No, when it became to every other weekend people inquiring about, can you come do this or can you come do that, and then me finding my passion. I think doing that awards night for my brother, never done a hypnosis show, standing up in front of 165 people and doing a show, and not only a show for them people. I used to be the martial arts instructor as well, so they'd see me as Fraser the martial arts instructor to now Fraser the hypnotist, who nobody knew anything about at the time, and people loving it and it being a success. It just, that feeling of being on stage and you know yourself being a performer, there's nothing beats it. It's the best drug in the world.
Oh, totally.
Best drug in the world. And I think all performers have a desire to be attention seekers in a way.
Ah, totally.
I feel like you are searching for that long little bit of appreciation from people that you don't even know, if that makes sense. Not so much, when I say attention seeking, I don't mean stand in the middle of the room, look at me, I am amazing. I mean, yeah, no, I do mean that. I absolutely do mean that, because you thrive for that clap, that appreciation. I guess we all want the satisfaction or the approval.
That external validation for all the hard work you've put into something.
And I think the reason I like it so much is because I'm getting validation for being me, which I so long looked for, which is awesome. So yeah, fuck you, bullies.
Fuck you, right up, man. See that, because a lot of your life, see when you say when you started like dyeing your hair and wearing makeup and that, did you finally get that acceptance you were looking for by your peers? So you did get accepted,
my
but
dating life went.
Oh really? Aye.
Oh aye.
So even though,
which made me even sadder, because I was like, I'm more handsome, being the most opposite thing of what I actually am.
So deep down inside, there was no way you could, because you can't kid yourself on. I don't believe that at all, and nobody can. You can show the outside world, and as you say, everything around you is elevating. You're getting everything you want externally, but internally, you just know deep down. Now, when you eventually embraced yourself for who you were, that's now this point, I think, now you're getting that external validation, but you're getting it for the right reasons. You're getting people appreciating you for who you are. So it's I find like you've got it, and I think that's when that probably, do you think, like your childhood, being excluded and being that like treated like that way by people, do you think that's added as that kind of, that's giving you that kind of desire?
Absolutely, it fueled a fire. I always said, let success be my noise. I'm not one to sit here and tell everybody the amazing achievements. I keep, and as I've been recently going viral on things and been offered all these lovely opportunities to come do press and all that thing, I've seen some names crop up who would never be interested in me before. And I don't mean like romantic of that, I just mean as in, I know they'll be sitting there going, I used to go to school with him, he used to be a nobody. Well, guess what? I'm a fucking somebody now. What are you doing?
Exactly. I said your biggest haters become your biggest supporters when you start doing well. It's funny that, isn't it?
I always say, and I've always said this, the 5 people I surround myself in my life before I ever, if I do, not saying if I ever do, the 5 people I surround myself with before you have money is the 5 people that will still be in my life when I have money. Because everybody else that comes after money are not there for Fraser. They're there for the money. And it's the same for yourself, and it's the same with anybody else. If they weren't interested in you before, what's the common denominator? What's changed? You know. Now, of course, we will all be introduced to new friends and new social circles. Absolutely. But yeah, just don't forget the nice person that you are. And I say that to everybody. I hope it doesn't change. I mean that, and a great example of that is Lewis Capaldi.
Mate, your words out my mouth. I think I know. I'll let you do the quote because I think I was going to say it. I think you're going to quote, but it says, "Fame doesn't change you; it changes the people around you." Absolutely. And I heard that. That's what was in my mind when you were saying that. I was literally about to actually say it.
Aye. See, connection.
Is that connection? Exactly, connected.
Can I ask you a question?
Aye.
What was your favourite thing from the day? The film. So for those of you who don't know, Fivo came and got hypnotised by me literally 3 days ago, which means he's still very susceptible, so we'll put him under it by the end.
By the end I'll be going back under. So my favourite thing...
what do you remember? Describe to
everything. I remember everything.
I always like to speak to people afterwards, because it's very good me sitting here and validating what I do, but there's no better validation than from people who have been hypnotised, because those people who think it's actors or you're unconscious or it's mind control, you can only keep thinking that for so long until you start seeing your friends, your family, people you know. Eventually you're going to be like, okay, maybe there's something to this. So I always like to, you tell them, don't let me
So are you meaning from my personal experience or what I've maybe seen?
No, your
because for
personal.
me,
what was your personal, what was your point of view going into it and what you thought of it, and now what is it afterwards after the experience?
I went in it quite open-minded, as you say, because I did believe in it to a degree. The only thing that was maybe I might have thought because I know some people just don't go under, just some people are just not susceptible to it, and that's fine. I thought maybe there was a wee part in my mind that maybe would I be one of the people, but as you say,
everybody can be hypnotised, it's just on what level, because we already are hypnotised, i.e. missing the big sign on the motorway, driving to your destination, not remembering it, reading a bit of paper, not these are all hypnotic things. We all do it 7 to 10 times a day, going in and out of trance. It's just, you're right, for an entertainment point of view. This is what people always say to me. I don't think I can get hypnotised. I'm like, alright, how many times have you looked for your car keys, holding your car keys? Alright, that's hypnosis. And when you start to explain it to people on a more generic level, they're like, oh, okay, fine. And some people believe it and some people don't, but I'm like, go Google it, it'll tell you. Don't take my word for it. Google what hypnosis is. It's focus and concentration. Have you ever set a goal in life? Hypnosis. Have you ever missed something? Hypnosis. So everybody can be hypnotised, but for that setting, you're right, as in we're looking for the top 2.5%.
Right, I see. So I went into it with an open mind anyway, as you said, keep an open mind.
Take me!
Take me, I surrendered, man. I've never been hypnotised before, as I say, I've only seen it. So I did believe, because I'd met people before I went to do the show and I was telling them, well, I get hypnotised on holiday and tell me, and I'm like, right. And I've seen people on stage and that getting done, you're like, there's no way they'd have done that if they weren't there under. Nobody's going to just act like, because you get people, like say myself, see if I never felt hypnotised, I wouldn't have done half the stuff, because I'm not going to do it if I didn't feel it.
And people always say to me afterwards, they say, oh, I was playing along, I was acting, and I say, right, okay, well, what did the hypnotist say to you? Oh, he asked me to do this, so I just done it. So it's right, okay. I said, now let's speak to somebody else who believes they were hypnotised. Why did you do that? Well, the hypnotist asked me to. Alright, so that's the same answer, right? So who's hypnotised and who's not? Why? Because hypnosis doesn't feel any different. People say, what does it feel like? It doesn't feel like anything. It just feels like what's meant to happen for you will happen for you. It's different for everyone. And you won't believe the amount of people that say, I wasn't unconscious, I could hear everything around me. I'm like, yes, I've told you that, yes, that's what happens. You don't go unconscious, I don't take away bodies down the back alleyway, it's not how it works.
Out of body experiences of that.
I know, that's it.
That's because even you said that to me beforehand, because see, you did explain, you're like, listen, you're just more agreeable as such, it's more, you're still conscious, you're still aware of what's going on, and if
I'm like, dance, you're like, aye, that's a great idea, I'll do that.
Exactly, because some of the stuff...
That seems like such a good idea.
Because I was actually at one point worrying, like, I hope he doesn't tell me to strip, because I'm going to do it. That's it, I remember, like, I hope he doesn't, and it was, because, and I compared it to, see when I was under, when I was in the sleep mode, or whatever, however you call it.
Sleep mode?
Sleep mode,
so you're vacuum, I was on fast mode, sleep mode.
I was on airplane mode.
Car mode.
But I was... See, when I was under, I felt like I had sleep paralysis, see that way, as if I wanted to move but I couldn't.
You just chose not to?
And there was times there, I was thinking, I was like, I hope he comes running, wakes me up, because I'm not going to be able to do this. I was kind of getting a bit freaked out at times, it did feel like sleep paralysis. That's how, like, at one point I slid down the chair and hit the ground, because I felt myself doing it, but I was just, as you say, you were saying, let yourself fall into a sleep, and I just done that.
I literally said, I think the phrase I used was change your position as much as possible to make yourself more comfortable. And you must have just decided that, oh, I'll just be a sloth and slide down.
I didn't hear that, I just
heard that. Did you just hear?
Just sink into it, so I sunk like Titanic. I hit the ground, man. I was kind of, at one point I was like, my back is killing me, and I hit the ground and I was like, right, that's me flat out.
But you find as well, like, people, I need to keep a constant rapport with volunteers from staying hypnosis. If I was just to put you to sleep and say nothing, you'd wake up 5 seconds later, you're all by yourself. You need to keep that constant rapport. So people will say to me, oh, can I get stuck in hypnosis? No, you can't get stuck in hypnosis, it's impossible. Nobody's ever been Nobody's ever died from hypnosis. Nobody's ever been hurt in hypnosis. People hurt themselves, not hypnosis hurts people.
So that was the thing I found in myself, where I went into it with an open mind, but for the get-go, when you've done when the one that was like, you've got the hot air balloon, taking your hand up and that kind of stuff, I felt it, then I was like, for the get-go, I was like, right, this is working. Then I was sitting next to Davey, and
we're going to do that again today. That visualisation exercise is amazing. I'm going to show you a different twist on it today, bud.
Oh, really? I'm curious. See,
so my plan today is to hypnotise you without even coming to touch you today.
Really?
Do it right for here.
Right, that's brilliant. See, I've been pure stressed at my nut all day. Do you think you could do another affirmation for me?
Of course, what would you like?
Just to have, have a good day. Could you do that?
Absolutely.
Have a good day, have a great day, be positive or something. 'Cause I felt myself quite negative. I don't know what it is. It's past me.
What's making you feel negative?
I don't know. I just felt.
Just patch the podcast. Let's just have a therapy session.
Exactly. That's some promo for you.
I know.
But I felt pure, just stressed. I've had a lot. I've just got a lot of stuff I need done, and I feel as if I've got too much on my plate now, and I'm just feel my head's kind of exploding, mate, and I feel just a bit drained.
Okay, cool. No worries. And have you wrote a list down or anything to prioritise and see where you want to do things? Or have you just let it all build up in your head and go, fuck?
I do, I write a set of goals and affirmations every day, but sometimes I don't get, let's say, like yesterday, I went to the gym, I had a sore head, so I ended up getting a nap, and I didn't get as much done, then I feel, I've just got stuff I need to do, and I feel as if I've not got enough time to do.
So let me ask you a question. If you're looking at your affirmation board, I always set up a thing that's one thing that I must get done, one thing I must get done today, and then everything else is optional. So
right.
What happens if you get the one thing that you need to do every single day, get that done, and then work your way through the board, and then can I ask you just a genuine personal question? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you don't get those tasks completed? What happens then is the next day, the tasks you didn't get done today, they now become that priority task for the following day. So it's never getting forgot about and left, it's always getting done. But what is the worst thing that will happen if that gets delayed by 24 hours? Tell me.
Nothing. The worst thing, there's no really any bad possibilities. I just, in my head, I make it worse than what it is.
So you've created that false reality for yourself, because I'd understand that if it took 24 hours, somebody's going to die. I'd get the urgency for that, or somebody's going to get critical illness, or somebody's going to starve to death. But if you're telling me now that there's nothing bad going to happen if those tasks get done 24 hours later, apart from it maybe niggling at you a bit, is it that big a deal?
No.
And when you start to do things like that, there's a thing called mindfulness where you start to understand and say, do you know what, today I feel like shit, and that's okay. Today I'm just going to take to feel like shit, it's alright. Or today I'm not feeling as productive, or I'm feeling a little bit lazy. You'll be amazing at how much stress you can cause yourself by saying, I need to get this done, I need to get this done, I need to get this done. See, when you take that pressure off yourself and say, do you know what, today's not a good day, I'm going to take my foot off the gas, but tomorrow I'm going to make up for it. By taking those goals or affirmations that I didn't get done today and putting it on the number one slot for tomorrow. That way you know it's not going to get forgot about, and even if you don't want to do it, you will be doing it tomorrow, because that is now on your guarantee. You've got your guarantee done today. Everything else can wait. Nobody's going to die. Take the pressure off yourself. You'll be amazed at what can happen.
I like it, and you'll probably get much more organic results that way, because I feel as if it's like, for the last week, I took a week off last week, and I feel like my brain was a sponge. See, you've got a big wet sponge that's dripping with ideas. I felt as if I'd wrang that thing dry.
Can I ask, when do you get your ideas? I had this conversation with somebody today. Aye. Do you get them during the day, or do you find it when you're lying in bed at night time?
Oh, the majority lying in bed at night. It's because I think your brain is in like it's a certain mode. If it's certain, I think it's between after 10 and 4 in the morning. Is that right? Or it's
hypnosis.
Hypnosis, is that it? It's see, I get it because I work night shift. See, into like 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when I get my spontaneous ideas, and it's at that time. Because a lot of times, I've been in jail a few times in my life, and at one point, I was sharing a cell with a guy, and I was up in the top bunk. So I would get ideas at night, but see, getting up and down to write them, it was a pain in the arse and plus as well. So I ended up just getting a notepad and a pen, sticking it under my pillow, and that was where I would get a lot of my ideas at night. And so there's a definite connection.
Interesting, because it comes back to those brainwave patterns. Hypnosis being that brainwave pattern number 4, and what happens is when you're in brainwave pattern number 2, which is not the fight or flight system, the one down from it all day long, you spend running about, blah 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 blah. Your brain doesn't have time to process things, so it's not until everything switches off at night time that your brain can then go into this stage just before you go to sleep, and this is where you are at your highest level of intelligence. This is why people who get hypnotised have such good imaginations, because I'm taking you from that bedtime highest IQ state and putting it into the here and the now, making it happen wherever you want it to happen, kind of thing. But everybody will experience this, whether you dream dreaming's hypnosis because you're visualising all the rest of it. You'll find if you were to put your brainwave patterns on a machine, they're not just down here all the time, up, down, lots of different
fluctuate.
Fluctuate, and you'll find yourself sometimes having a deeper sleep than other times. Again, have you ever been talking to somebody in bed at night and they ask you questions and you can kind of remember it, and the next one you kind of like, I don't really remember what you were asking me, and they're like, well, we spoke about this in detail and you've gave answers, but you're in that kind of daydreamy stage. At your highest intelligence, again, it's all hypnosis.
Right, I see. So see, we talk about like at that time just before you're about to fall asleep, that's
because your brain's resting. It's not thinking about the dinner, it's not thinking about the kids going to school, it's not thinking about your work for tomorrow, it's not thinking about, it's just the final time you get to switch off and all you can think about is ideas and creativity and what. That's why you sometimes sit in bed for hours upon hours thinking about, right, structure this and this. Whereas you wouldn't do that in your normal waking day. You go, oh, I need to do that. I need to do that. But you don't actually sit and go, right, if I just sat in bed and go, right, 9 till 9:30 doing this, 10 to, and you've caught yourself up in the day, and then you wake up in the morning and you don't actually do it. Because your brain's now out of that motivational state.
It's like people would say, I'm going to get my shit together tomorrow, like today I'm getting up and getting at it and that, then they go the next day like, I don't know. But see, we talk about that time just before you fall asleep, or around about that time when you're in bedtime, you've got...
It's the closest state I could describe to hypnosis.
So see, that time you're probably at your most heightened creativity. Do you think there's a way to access that during the day?
Yeah, me.
Right, you. So do you think there's any other medium would I be able to do it myself? Would I need to get...
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about earlier on the corporate. I'm giving people the self-help toolkit to be able to create the state of hypnosis that I do with you when I'm here, when I'm not even here.
Right, I see.
That's what I'm helping on people unlock.
And
so, there you go, there goes the sellability for that.
There you go, man, there's a promo.
There you go.
You sold it well, man. You're a pro at this stuff. Sometimes when I meditate, I feel as if I can get into, let's say for toxic, if I'm got a bit of writer's block, and if I'm trying to think of an idea and nothing's coming to, I'll go away and meditate for 10 minutes, and more often than not, I'll get what I'm looking for. So I think, is that...
Meditation and hypnosis are very, very similar, if not the same thing.
Really,
Aye.
Because I meditate every day, and
that explains why you're such a good hypnotic subject then.
That'll be why, because I made sure, see, before I went to the show the other day, I made sure, because I was in a bit of a rush, and I was like, I'm meditating before I go to this, I made a point of meditating.
Yeah, and the fact that you, again, eliminate distractions, focus and concentrate because you set time aside for your meditation, that's all hypnosis in itself, and you're also used to breathing and relaxing your breathing and bring yourself into that calm state. So no wonder you go under like a light.
That's it, you had me.
Hypnotist dream. Poster boy for hypnosis.
I've got to start saying that, that's another title I can add to myself.
Poster boy for hypnotic subjects.
Because see, when you started it, you were saying like breathe in, breathe out, I was like, this is just meditating, so I just found myself I could settle into the groove so easily.
And it's the same, the more you practice it as well, the better you are. So it's really interesting. I couldn't be greatly hypnotised for show at the start. I could give myself suggestions and they would stick, and I could do it on a meditation kind of level. I can now go be on stage shows and get hypnotised just like any of you guys. I didn't used to be able to do it.
Really?
It's just the letting go. I think because I was always thinking about what was coming next, I knew what they were going to say, and I could never let go. But last year when I was at that conference, another hypnotist was doing a show, and my goodness, I was playing the piano and all sorts. I was having a rare time.
Can you play the piano?
I can play the piano, but I just mean as in I was like...
Right, so do you think it was like, see, like, in terms of that, say...
I was also licking an ice cream off my elbow, so no, I can't do that.
I was doing
it.
See, the fact you can lick your elbow, fucking that's actually...
I can guarantee I was nowhere near my elbow.
See, do you think you could hypnotise, like say for toxic, I'm not really great at playing the piano or the keyboard as such, could you hypnotise me so I could, in that moment of hypnosis, actually do something I was unable to do, or no, I didn't have the correct skills to do?
I thought about this, and my first instinct answer is no, right? I had somebody message me the other day that says, I'm learning a new language, can you help me speak it, or retain it, or something like that? And I said no, and then I kind of got annoyed with myself because I thought, all it is learning a new learnt behaviour. So I could give you, what I could do is give you, I can't teach you how to play piano, right? Because pretend I don't play piano, right? So if I didn't play piano, I couldn't teach you how to play piano, but what I could install in you is the motivation to keep going and practicing and learn more about it, to never give up. So eventually you would get there quicker.
Right.
So what I should have done, and I might go message that person after this because I feel bad now, is that I can't help you learn a new language, but I can help you believe in yourself that you will retain the information that you're learning.
I see.
So putting the belief factor in, I think, I need to try it.
But it is the belief factor.
A lot of it is. Think of your exams. Exams now are just a memory test.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody does anything long enough, you're going to memorise it. So if you believe that you're going to memorise it, a lot of the times that will make the difference. So yeah, I'm going to say yes in some roundabout way.
Totally, because see, like, because I played the guitar myself, and that's how I learned was it was sitting down an hour a day and just keep showing up, even though at the start, if you know yourself playing an instrument, it's just about showing up.
Even learning to dip your fingers in vinegar and harden the skin, it's horrible.
Oh, I never done that. No.
Oh, do you not?
No.
Your fingers just bleed.
I just like the pain, man. I got massages that way, you know what I mean?
We're big wetties up the north.
So I never got to answer your question about your show, what I enjoyed about it the most. I enjoyed in myself how I was so... I just liked the fact when I was under it, I was so open to stuff, and it was like stuff I wouldn't have done before, and I liked it was great because, I don't know, it's...
Nice to let go.
Aye, but it was nice to relax. It was like, and the fact you took all the phones away, there's no distractions. It was, you were alone in that room, and I feel everybody that went in there, they didn't know many people actually knew each other, maybe knew through online that, but after it we all kind of felt as if we connected.
I was like a wee family.
Aye, that's exactly how it felt.
And there's been chats of let's host a premiere.
Aye, I hope it happens.
And it's been the camaraderie is great, and as you say, it's we were speaking about earlier about keeping your circle close and people not getting used, but when you surround yourself with people that are doing better than you in the industry, and that I consider everybody in that day to be more highly recommended in the industry than I am, what a privilege it is to be sitting here speaking to you, to be hypnotising some of these people with a crazy amount of followers. Amazing. Again, it comes back to networking, oh my goodness. If I could give MD a bit of advice, golden nugget from this podcast, it would be, if you're trying to achieve anything, whether it be a business, a goal, anything, network. Surround yourself with people that are doing better than you.
Know what you know, it's who you know, innit?
Absolutely. Your network is your net worth.
Hey, I like it, man. I like
all
it.
The buzzwords! All the fucking buzzwords!
I'm loving this podcast. All the buzzwords, man. Plenty of clips.
So the buzzword.
That's it gave me the buzz as well, because no buzzword, the buzz. But see, when I was in there, because a lot of the people get like 1 million followers, hundreds of thousands, and I'm like, right, I need to get my finger out, man. I want to start. It gave me a buzz to start posting more content, because sometimes I'm kind of
you get complacent with it. You plateau.
Sometimes because I used to put myself under the pressure, going, I need to do 3 videos a day, and all that shit to get the algorithm going. Then at that point, it was getting to a point where I'm not enjoying this, and I'm trying to keep the enjoyment in it. I'm trying to, because I feel as if it comes across, see, if I'm just forcing myself to do something, that's going to be reflective in my content, whereas if I'm doing it when I enjoy it, when I get an idea that I like and I put it out, that's when it's get a more organic idea.
Aye, and it's the same when I first started creating content as well. It was like, I'd have content when I'd do something for a wee while, and then I'd just run out of content and have nothing, so I just circulate the old shit for the sake of doing it, and now I'm just like, see if I've got content, I'll put it out, and see if I've not. Again, I mean, every businessman and entrepreneur and everything else will tell you that you must do this to fit your algorithms. Now, I do stick to some stuff like that, as in I will post certain length videos and stuff in a certain style and that, but I only worry about that when I'm posting it, when I've got it. I'll happily not post for a week or 2 weeks and be like, do you know what, I've not got anything, that's fine.
Aye.
Rather than just post shit. And people will say to you, post what you want to post, but I'm posting this stuff because I enjoy it and I want to see it, and if it does well, it does well, if it doesn't, it doesn't. Fine. I think the best thing for me is the network, collaborating. Absolutely collaborating, you know. Yeah, that's my biggest success.
Aye, definitely, man, because that gives you ideas as well. See if you've got the 2 heads bouncing off each other, because with the likes of your content, like being a hypnotist, I mean, there's no end of content what you could do with people.
No, there's not, and there's so many things going about. There's some stuff just now with the BBC coming up with concepts and stuff, and I just
with yourself?
Aye, for
myself.
Really? I just thought, this would be amazing. It's so hard to. I've always, for the past 5 years when I started this, I've always had this gut feeling that if people just hear my message and hear what I'm doing, it will be amazing. But how the hell do I get in front of those people? And some of it's been luck, going viral. Some of it's been putting myself in a position. How would you ever be there if you didn't put yourself in a position? And it's still very much a difficult run. I won't be happy with myself until I've reached my goals. So although I look credible and great to everybody else, I'm still chasing it, still working hard.
Nah, that's it, chasing that thing, and that's, I truly believe that the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Aye, absolutely. And it's again, surrounding yourself with those people.
Aye,
know?
that's it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's difficult, but if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, right?
You're right.
Buzzwords!
Hey,
Buzzwords!
motivational, man, I'm liking it.
Can't even see the edit, it'll just be me going, buzzwords!
See, can I ask one question? See,
Yeah.
since you started like your journey into hypnotism, what is the biggest challenge you faced?
Stereotype of what people think it is. Theatres didn't want hypnosis shows. The places where I wanted to do my hypnosis shows, people didn't want it. Mind control, people getting injured so they get sued.
Right.
Total stereotype of what a hypnotist is.
I see.
That's not true. Corporate, people don't want hypnotised. Anytime you talk about hypnosis, people's bums pucker, you know? Well, it's not until, I remember I really wanted to get a corporate agent, right? Really wanted a corporate agent. And I managed to, through a friend through radio, speak to this corporate agent, put together all my press pack and everything else and sent it out to them. And I got a nice polite reply saying, Fraser, love what you do, blah 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 blah, don't think this is appropriate for corporate. And I was like, well, let me tell you something, Mr. Corporate Man, you're going to listen to my email. And I started naming these things about thinking like the customer and all the rest of it. Started sending them over some links and statistics from American hypnotists who are multi-millionaires doing all these corporate conferences, and I said, how amazing would it be if this happened in the UK? What happens if this could be portrayed? And actually this visualisation and goal setting and mentalism can all be tied right back to people's own personal life and business for benefits. Or when you explain it like that, let's have a chat. And once we're having a chat, we're having a chat. So it's breaking down that stereotype. So it's very frustrating because a lot of people would write you off before you even got there and not give you the time of day either. But then that's the same with any, I'm sure, actor, singer, dancer. It's the having the whole, don't give it, it's your want to succeed and belief in yourself must be stronger than the negativity that you'll face. Because it's hard. It's hard when you're nose, left, right and centre. It's hard when you're working a 12-hour shift, coming in, no sleep, getting up, doing other stuff, and then the last thing you can be arsed doing is sitting there editing a video for 6 hours or prepping stuff for clients or cleaning the house for 3 hours because I've got a dog because I want to have one client that day on my only day off, and giving up social events and social times to meet the needs of other people, and going and doing all these stuff like networking events which mean absolutely nothing, and you meet absolutely nobody and you feel it's an absolute waste of time. Not giving up and just keep going and going and going. Eventually stuff happens. I couldn't believe it. It was my very first, I think I had TikTok a wee while ago, but my very first video after doing the Gary Falls thing, I just posted it and it just went off itself. People say, how'd you go viral? I've not a fucking clue. Not a clue. And then how did I get another almost 20,000 likes, another video and another good few 100,000, but not a clue. Then I posted another video and got like 30 likes. So I'm like, and I read into the TikTok algorithms a little bit. They hook you in because it's every so often videos they'll give you a good one and then they put you back down, so you get that high and that low. My advice is don't worry about it, just put it out if you think it's good. Put it out. Now don't get me wrong, everybody likes to go check on their phone and see check look at the views. And it's like, oh, here's the numbers going up here and it's brilliant. And honestly, in the last 3 weeks I think I've gained about 7,000 followers on one platform and another 3,000 followers on another platform, and it's great, but it's not going to be like that forever. It's not going to be like that forever, so post as much fucking content as I can. And then see in 2 months it's all downhill for here. Back to Aldi. Aldi.
Wish you could hypnotise people nowadays, I suppose, isn't it?
People say to me, is hypnosis fake? I'm like, well, I've been faking it the past half a decade and nobody's caught me yet.
Good fake. See, you talk about like you've dealt with a lot of rejection, a lot of time you've put into it, and it's no. How did you develop your self-belief to the point where you kept pursuing it? What did you keep coming back to in your mind?
Kept visualising myself on a theatre stage.
Right.
Kept visualising myself having a theatre show, and that's my dream. And I suppose my dream was obviously I used to do theatre when I was a little boy. I just kept visualising, like I can just see myself there. I thought, there's nobody else at my age, Scottish. Now Americans and all the internationals love Scottish accents. Being albino. I just had this unbelievable vision of that there's no way that somebody who's Scottish and got a disability and had this hardship and this amazing story to tell and develop this amazing, what I think, kick-ass presentation for corporate and therapy, who a lot of people can relate to. And you see, I just kept thinking, you see all these STV appeals and BBC appeals and people who have came from rags to riches, and I just thought, if I work so goddamn hard and I perfect my art that I know I'm good, adding those things can only be a positive. And it didn't matter, I was 2 years in and everything was a no. Everything was not interested, but I still believed in it. I created a dream for myself, and I'd never had ambition before. And I suppose I was chasing that feeling from that very first show. And my dad unfortunately was diagnosed with cancer last year, and he said to me that if anything ever did happen to him at that period, that he just wanted to be around enough so he could see me achieve my dream of being on a theatre show. And I have my first theatre show this October. I've been booked for another theatre show next year. My dad's made a full recovery and I'm heading to the Fringe, so I can't effing wait. And my dad's not one for being on camera. He wouldn't want to talk about it, and he'd probably be really annoyed that I've shared that. But he has been such a backbone. My mum as well, financially. People think you can start a business on £10. Thousands and thousands of pounds to get started on a business, whether it be website rights or anything. And it's just, anything I've ever asked, it's never been a no. And I'm very fortunate to have the parents that have worked hard to be, because not a lot of people have been in that position. But money doesn't grow on trees, and there's only so much they could give me. You gotta want it so badly. I was willing to sell my house and move back home with a girlfriend and a dog at the time and everything to invest money into my business. And you a lot of success stories you will hear that everybody dices with very close to the edge. And my dad said to me a few times that if this doesn't work, what are you going to do? I said, it will work. And I wouldn't even say it's working now, but it's getting a hell of a lot closer than what it was when it wasn't. You know? But you just, honestly, I just visioned myself, hypnotised myself to have that goal, and I can't wait to achieve that goal. I want to do theatre tours, I want to do casinos, I want to do cruises, and I want to build a life where I can pick and choose when I work to suit for when I can be an active, present father when it comes to being a dad. Which I'm not, but when it comes to be. And I won't give up until that's done.
You're definitely, if you're no, even saying you're on your way to it, I'd say it's no far off right now. I was actually surprised when you tell me you're not actually there yet, but I think once you put in all the hours of getting unnoticed, and I'm not saying you've not been unnoticed, but on the larger scale you're aiming for,
I'm still very much, don't get me wrong, I'm still a very small fish in a big pond.
Aye, but you're
tiny.
I'd say you're a big fish, you're just a big fish that's not been seen yet, you're that shark.
I'm a big fish that's not been to the gym since fucking Christmas.
You're a big shark behind the reef. Once you pop out, man, they're all going to show you.
A big cauliflower. I know, and I appreciate that, but again, I look up to people like you guys. Like, look at your setup here. This just blows my mind when you guys putting out such amazing content like this. Yeah, to go from that little boy who nobody knew his name in the corridor to being featured in the paper as the hypnotist that beat the bullies to become a stage success, and to read that Scotland's answer to Derren Brown. It's heartwarming, you know, and it's things that I'll frame. I'm not egotistical, or at least I try not to be publicly egotistical. But it's moments like that I can be proud of myself, you know. And I'm doing it all here with all my pale skin, white hair, rocking it. So be yourself. The best thing you can be is unique. Because if you're the first to do something, odds are you're going to be successful at it.
Totally. That's exactly it. I love it. I love that mantra. Can I just ask, see, you talk about your past, and obviously it did affect you, the trauma for getting bullied. Would you change it? No? If you could go back?
Oh, would I change getting rocked and bet up and jumped it? No, I loved it. Second portion. No, I know what you mean. Would I change it? It's weird because my first thought process is to say no. I don't think I would be as determined and as inspired as I am today if I didn't go through that. I've made mistakes. I'm not a perfect person by any means at all. And my only regret in life is that I didn't find this sooner. I didn't get a grip on life until until I was like 25, 26, and now I'm 28. Oh, this only started when I was 23, seriously, for the past 5 years. Which in one hand's amazing, look what you can achieve in 5 years. And the other hand is, fucking hell, where would I be if I started when I was 16?
I'm sure, I think that myself. See anybody that creates any kind of, or pursuing any kind of goal or ambition that we're doing, we all say the exact same thing. We've got that one regret, we never done it sooner. But I feel if you done it sooner, you might not have developed the skills you needed, that self-belief. Would you maybe have given it up sooner because you never developed that well? So I think everything happens when it's meant to happen. You go through these trials and tribulations of life, where you go through like your early 20s and that, you're still trying to navigate who you are as a person. At first you're trying to accept yourself for who you are, then that's when it leads you on it. I feel as if it's a path. I feel
20s were hard. See, when I hit 25 I was having like pure midlife crisis, like fuck, what am I doing with my life? Kind of thing. And now that I'm 28, people would say 28 is not old. I honestly feel when I'm in the closer part of it, I always envisioned myself having a family, my end house by now, engaged, you know. Whereas I'm like cost of living, like paying the lecky, like the dog's eating better than I am, you know what I mean? Like it's
at least the dog's eating well and the lecky's fine. Let's look at the positives in it, man.
I often say to myself, what if this doesn't work out? You're fucked. And I go, it's going to work out.
That's the beauty of it though.
It's going to work out.
If you knew it was going to work out, it'd be boring, wouldn't it? It's even known, because
well say.
I look at it.
See if you could sit here and tell me right now it's going to work out, I'd kiss your shoe.
Right.
But nobody does.
Aye, that's the thing though.
It's exciting.
I like the because you don't know. And that's because if we had it preordained, we knew you're doing this route, it's got to be successful. Aye, great, but the person that goes down when they don't know, they're taking that belief in themselves. That's a true mark of character. That gives the story that extra bit of fucking speciality to it.
And what success is to me might be different for you.
Nah, you're right.
I don't know if you've ever seen this, right? If I said to you just now, I'd give you £1 million, £100 million right this very minute, but tomorrow you die, would you take it?
No.
If I said to you, I will give you £100 million, but your mum or your dad or whoever was close to you brought you up dies tomorrow, would you take it?
No.
If I said to you, I will give you £100 million, but you need to go on a secluded desert island and never speak to another person, would you take it?
Forever?
Forever.
No.
Now, people say that money motivates people, and I've done this in the demonstration to the thing, but what you've understood is that money's not more important than your health. Money's not more important than the ones that you love's health, and money's not more important than having the ones you love around you. So success, in my eyes, if you've got those things, you already have it. You know? So, nothing wrong with aiming higher, but don't be disheartened with the success that you already have. Crazy, right? Isn't it? We're all aiming for money, like money, cost of living, money. And it has a major factor, but take away all that hectic stuff, take yourself out of that brainwave pattern 2, put yourself into brainwave pattern 4. And how often do you reflect and wake up in the morning and say, I'm grateful for this today? We wake up and we set goals as to what we want to achieve, but how often do you wake up in the morning and say, I'm grateful for today, because we don't.
I write 3 things I'm grateful for every day on my affirmations.
The hypnotist done there.
It's not there.
It will be in a minute.
It's not there, it's in my back. See that paper? It's in that fucking...
And that's something I'm trying to do, because I don't...
There's the proof right there. Great flowing goals, but you can see the size of my goals and how often they're ticked.
I hope it's truer than your trick.
I definitely was, man. It's much easier to figure out that anyway, man. Figure out what I don't get done.
Should we do some demonstrations before?
Aye, so do you want me to wrap it up first then do the demonstration, or how do you want to do it?
You're the host.
Okay, I'll just because I was only going to ask like 1 or 2 questions anyway.
Go for it.
I really like the
Ask
quiz.
me one. I'm
So,
here. All yours.
is there anything you're hoping to achieve in the world of hypnotism that hasn't been done before?
I would like to set and I've tried this, but I just didn't follow the right procedures. I want to set a Guinness World Record. So I climbed Ben Lomond, which was I think was at 3,400 feet. So that doesn't make sense.
Pizzas.
3,400 pizzas. You think that with this chin by the way?
You've been hungry, haven't you?
It's a hungry hypnotist. You know what my family used to call me when I put on weight? Hypnotits.
Shut up! You suppose your family that never caught on to your stage name, man. I could definitely be an X-rated show.
Hypnotits. There's Hypnotits.
There's Hypnotits. Sound like a fucking CD Power Ranger.
Yeah, you can't pick your family right. So, I'd like to set a Guinness World Record. So, Ben Lomon's 3,400 feet. I wanted to set the world record for hypnotising somebody at the highest height.
Right.
But you need to take one of the weird adjudicators with you. I didn't do that. Me and Marco went on the mountain that day. So I hypnotised somebody and I videoed it, but obviously it needs authentication.
Aye, of course.
When I'm dropping about 10 kilo down, stopping up the mountain. So if you'd like to come set a world record and come climb a really high mountain, let's do it.
Just as long as you don't get me to do a backflip again, I should be alright.
Honestly, you just need to see this footage, it's unreal.
I'm buzzing it's coming out. I wasn't sure if it was going to come out, so basically me and Ravy Davey get very acrobatic, that's all I'm going to say. It was good, and I suppose that's the investment. Maybe I'm on a bit of a wrestler deep at heart, aren't
What would your entrance music be?
Well, I make music, so I've got a tune. I'm Fivo, so that would be my entrance.
He says that as if it's not planned, he's got it on repeat and he's Alexa,
no.
Alexa, play Hawaii Five-0.
Alexa doesn't even know who I'm, the bastard, man. Do you want to hear me? It's like I'm surprised I'm not deposited though for a domestic the amount of times I'm shouting at him.
Honestly, it's got a poster in the way in and all.
Don't stick me in, man. I'm trying to keep my location undisclosed.
Sitting in the middle like that.
That's why I've got a wide mirror, know what I mean? Need to fit these shoulders in somehow. So this will be my last question I would like to ask you, and I ask everybody this question. So
sure.
we spoke about it a lot about how people's versions of success can differ.
Yes.
When I look at legacy is a big important thing to me, because I want to build something that will stand the test of time long after I pass, to leave to people, leave an autobiography of my life, with my music, with my comedy and whatever else I want to do with my podcast, to inspire people long after I go. If I were to put that question on you, what would you want your legacy to reflect after all is said and done, like life endgame? What would you like to look back and say, that's defined me or defined my life?
Oh, that's a brilliant question.
Thank you.
That's a really good question. Everything about.
When you're on your deathbed and you want to look back and go, I'm glad. This is what I've hoped to achieve. This is what I like. When you pass on, what do you want people to remember you for?
I'd like people to remember me. That's a really good question. I'd like people to remember me for. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean you can't achieve anything else that somebody with an able body can. I think that would be the final message. And more selfishly, if you've got albinism, you stereotypically don't socialise, are a little bit overweight and you do look a little bit odd, go out there and push yourself. I used to do full contact kickboxing and I'm registered partially blind. Like, go push yourself out of your comfort zone, you will be amazed at what you can achieve. So if I was to leave a legacy behind, it would be, no matter your circumstances or ability, push yourself. That would be it. Push yourself.
I like it.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man. And I like it, the fact that it's totally selfless. You're using your own experiences in order to leave behind so people can take inspiration, and it's probably been a position to yourself before, because I've had people on the podcast who have who've had disabilities, and that's what they always feel as if like they want to inspire other people with disabilities as such to try and achieve, to push themselves, to never be restricted by what society might try and restrict them by. So it's a really beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, and I suppose it's always breaking that barrier of disabilities and inabilities. You know, I suppose in your heart of hearts you'd want the word disability not to exist.
Of course.
It'll always be there, you know, and I'm not one of these people that are under the false illusion of it can't be there. Obviously if you've got somebody very able-bodied and somebody that's not, there's clearly a difference there, you know. Let's not shy away from the fact, but let's bring that person that's not as well enabled to believe that they can be.
Of course. Do you mind if I just ask you, see you're partially blind, like how does it affect you?
So I'm registered partially sighted, so your vision or normal vision would be 20/20 or 20/30. Mine is 60/80.
Right.
So that means basically if you think about being short-sighted, really, really short-sighted. So for example, right now I can see your face. I know you've got glasses on because I've seen a wee flicker of it, but I can't see actually you've got glasses on right now. I can't see your mouth, I can see a shadow, I can't see your eye colour, and I can't see the difference of your eyebrows.
Really?
But I can see all that stuff as well.
Nice.
Which is interesting because when I'm on stage and I'm looking for the microfilament movements, I'm very much picking up on my other heightened abilities as in voice, tone, and this is why I connect so well with people, because I'm at a major disadvantage with the sight.
Right.
But it becomes normal to me. It becomes normal.
I suppose because you've been accustomed to it, you don't know any different.
Don't know any different. But don't get me wrong, if you were like here, I could tell you your nose, your eye colour, everything. So that's why I say it's short-sighted, because the further away you are, the less I see. I can't ever drive because I can't read the registration plate 25 metres away. But I could see a white car 300 yards away, but it'd be like a white fuzzy thing.
It'd just be a white blob as such.
So, it's just... I could actually register for a guide dog, but I'm very much independent, you know, so... just get by.
And you do it like you've got did I say you're a successful businessman, you've studied
I wouldn't quite say successful,
you're successful, you were successful the other day, that's successful in my eyes is success.
Well, absolutely.
That's my version of success, so I've got my version of success.
Just wish the fucking bank would notice the success.
I thought just don't want the tax man noticing it, bastard steal all your money.
I know. If the tax man's working, I pay my taxes, and I made £200 last month. Yeah.
There you go, tax man. Take a chunk of that, you prick. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. I've had about over 50 odd guests in my podcast, and they've been great guests. You are by far the most interesting. Before you even sat down, just and the fact you've studied it, you've put more than 1,000 hours into your skill. You can be called a master of your craft.
Thank you very much.
And plus as well the fact you used it selflessly, in case that was misconstrued there. Like you do hypnotherapy, as you say, you work at corporate events. Your goal is obviously you want to get paid for what you do, obviously, so you can make a living. But I think you want to help people. That is your first and foremost goal.
Absolutely. But the reason I love the stage so much is that you can take people out of their horrible, if they're going through a bad time, horrible day-to-day life, and for 1 hour completely transform them to another virtual reality. And even if I'm taking people out of their shitty lives for just 1 hour in a stage performance, that's 1 hour of happiness that they might have not had that day. And the same in the therapy room or the corporate room. You're helping people become the best version of themselves, so whether it's helping them in a therapy level or entertaining them to take all their troubles and worries away for 1 hour, either way it's helping people, and that's what I love. It's
magical, it's beautiful, man, and I really appreciate the fact you've taken time to come down to my podcast. And
I appreciate being invited. I'm so privileged to be invited.
The pleasure's all mine. You're the most interesting guy that's been in this house, and this is a very interesting house.
I'm sure there's been a lot of people in this house.
Definitely.
How handsome is he, by the way?
Oh, thank you very much.
How handsome is he? You turned up on Tuesday, and I thought, fucking hell, wish I looked like that.
Oh, thanks very much, man. Thank you. I'm glad somebody noticed, man.
But we might hear or else I'd get no shows.
And that's how no hypnotised.
I know. Speaking of hypnosis, should we find
right, so how do you want me to do you need me to speak into the mic? Because it'd be good if you could speak into the mic just so the audience can hear what you're saying. So I'm after all the best moving this.
You can move your mic away.
So I would just, how do you want
to do an outro quickly just so you can
So I was going to.
Do you want to do after it?
I was going to do it after because I would usually
Yeah,
ask
no
you
worries.
if you get anything you want to promote. So I was going to show the demonstration.
Let me get lost out. Jesus.
And, unless you want, because I was going to do the demonstration, then you can promote your show. So it's been a bit stressed today, a bit demotivated, man. So if you could just give me a wee spring my step if possible. But you're the
Easy
man.
peasy.
You take it away.
Boys,
So let's take my glasses off. I'm alright.
Absolutely, just for health and safety. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just to confirm, we always need to ask somebody if you are ready to go into hypnosis and if you want to be hypnotised.
I'm ready and I want.
Excellent. Move your microphone away and then just let me do all the work.
Okay.
So very similar to the other day. I can do this very quickly, or I can do it without even touching you. Yeah, let's just do it without even touching you. Let's just put out your left arm for me nice and fast. Put your right arm onto your thigh for me. Excellent. I want you to find a spot in the back of the room. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. One more deep breath in, and on the exhale close your eyes now. As you focus on the sound of my voice and the sound of my voice only, I want you to imagine right now, Jordan, that we're tying that ribbon that you had on Tuesday around that wrist again, and only this time this ribbon is going to be even tighter and it's going to be even shorter, and that balloon's going to be even bigger. And in fact, you've not got one balloon, you've got 1,000 healing balloons in this wrist. And what you'll discover now is when I click my fingers, those healing balloons, so vivid and bright as it was before, because as you know, once you've been hypnotised before, it goes twice as fast and twice as deep. Those balloons are going to start to lift and rise and lift all on their own now. Start to feel that arm pulling and tugging and pulling, getting lighter and lighter and lighter. That's right. The lighter it goes, the more your hand lifts up, the lighter it gets, all the way up high into the sky. And every second, Jordan, with your eyes tightly closed, I'm going to count to 3. When I count to 3, we're going to cut that balloon away. That arm's just going to drop right into your thigh, your head will drop with it, nice and safe and secure, staying in your chair, and you enter this wonderful sense of relaxation. Nod your head if you understand. Excellent. 1, 2, 3, sleep. All the way down, deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel, the deeper you go in every way, shape and form. That's right. You can just, with your eyes tightly closed, make yourself as comfortable as you want to get and as relaxed into the chair as possible. You can just sit back into the chair now, with your eyes closed, sink and drift and float, and just allow yourself to go back into that wonderful state. As I count down from 3 all the way down to 0, allow yourself to drift with every number. 3, deeper and deeper, 2, and 1. That's right. Excellent. Good. And the next time any suggestion I give you for the next 5 minutes, we'll go into the deepest part of your subconscious mind. The deeper it goes, the better you feel. The more suggestions you follow, the better you feel, the deeper you go. Nod your head if you understand. Excellent. Anytime I say that word sleep, you'll instantly, immediately go back into this wonderful state of relaxation, but twice as deep, Jordan. Twice as deep, twice as fast, and twice as more relaxed. But for just now, you're going to pop your eyes open, twice as deep into hypnosis, feeling fantastic in every way, shape and form. 1, 2, 3. Eyes wide awake. Excellent. How do you feel? Good.
You're good, aye.
Focus on that spot, take a deep breath in. Sleep. All the way down, Jordan. Just let it go now. That's right. Just let it completely go deeper and deeper and deeper. Person I'm talking to now, Jordan. The next time you open your eyes, you're going to mysteriously hear a ringing noise coming from your sandal. And you'll discover, Jordan, actually the strangest thing has happened. I've actually slipped in the world's smallest mobile phone into your sandal. And the next time you open your eyes, within a couple of seconds, you're going to realise that somebody's calling you from your sandal, and you're going to answer it, and you're going to have that phone call. It's going to be actually a very important phone call, and it's going to last for 10 seconds. It's going to be a business one, and you'll have it there in the chair, but you'll apologise because you're in the middle of a podcast, and ask to phone them back. As soon as you put your shoe back on that sandal, this will just keep repeating. The more it happens, the deeper you go, the better you feel. Next time I ask you to open your eyes, your shoe has now become your mobile phone. 1, 2, 3, eyes wide awake. Excellent. Well, this has been amazing. I heard ringing earlier on, but I don't know if it was my phone or whether it was...
My sandal.
What is it?
My sandal. Hello.
Oh, who's that?
John. No, I'm doing a podcast, mate. No, I'll phone you. Aye. I'll phone you back. Can I phone you back? I'll phone you back, mate. Sorry about that. So
what happens?
So
where'd you get that phone from, by the way?
Sing, it's fucking. Just a second, keep phoning me back. Hello. Aye. Right. Right. I've got a delivery for DPD coming. So I've got a phone. I've ordered a phone for the podcast. So mate, aye, just leave it at the door. Leave it at the door. Aye, at the door. Right. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Next time you put your sandal back on, it happens with both sandals. 2 phones now. Right. So anyway, we're talking.
Can I get this? Hello.
What is it?
Hello. Right. No, I've registered as TV license. See, right, I registered as no needing a TV licence.
Fivo.
No.
What's this?
I'm on the phone, sorry mate.
You're on the phone.
Take a break, take a wee phone break. I'm sorry, I'm actually kind of busy at the minute. Can you phone us back? Send me an email. Sorted. Thank you. Cheers, bye-bye. Right, so what about the topic now?
Right, so as we were saying with the podcast and everything.
Sorry. I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry, my phone didn't go. Sorry. Mum.
Take a deep breath in. Sleep! All the way down, deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. Now, Jordan, that suggestion is completely and utterly removed now. That no longer is sticking with you. And I want you to focus very strongly and listen to me just now. Any hypnotic suggestions up to this point are completely and utterly removed. And in a wee moment, I'm going to count from 0 all the way to 5. When I count to 5, you'll be back to your normal waking state, but you won't remember the hypnosis until I shake your hand. However, the next time I ask you to open your eyes, you're going to have this overwhelming new sense of belief, this new found belief system in yourself, understanding that from now and for the rest of the week going ahead, you're going to achieve everything you want to achieve. You're going to feel planned, structured and organised. You're not going to feel overwhelmed. And you're going to feel really motivated and really confident in yourself in the best possible way. You're going to feel relaxed in that you can take everything at your own pace. And for the strangest reason, you're just going to feel the best version of yourself for the rest of today and for the rest of this week. And you're going to feel refreshed and have the best night's sleep. Nod your head if you understand. Everything else will be completely cleared. 0, familiarising yourself in the room. 1, not remembering the hypnosis until I shake your hand. 2, that positive suggestion of feeling the best version of yourself, the best night's sleep and ready to attack the rest of the week is now stuck. 3, all other hypnotic suggestions are completely and utterly removed. 4, familiarising yourself in the room. And 5, eyes open, wide awake, back in the room. How are you feeling?
Dynamite, man.
Excellent. Why is your sandals off?
But no, I must have kicked them off.
What, when you fell?
Maybe.
Do you want to know why they were really off? Shake my hand. You remember now?
I was answering my sandals, aye. Fucking hell. That's fucking mental. That's mental.
Strange, right?
It's strange. So I was answering my sandals, aye. I realised I put that in there, aye. So I was hypnotised there. That was amazing. I felt. Aye, that was really good.
How was answering your sandal?
Aye.
How was phoning? They kept phoning.
Everybody, man, fucking pain in the arse. I was fucking, I'm genuinely waiting on DPD, I know, man. It was aye, oh for fuck's sake.
Absolutely brilliant. How you feeling? You asked me to speak to you a little bit about motivation, how you're feeling in yourself and stuff like that. Obviously, we worked for a very brief moment in time, but how are you feeling just now?
I do feel good. I feel really good, and I'm one of the ones who have come out it, and I just feel like I feel relaxed to a degree where I'm not constantly thinking, right, after this podcast I need to get A, B, C and D done before I can sit in my arse. I'm like that. Take it at my own pace, man.
Awesome, man. Love that.
An absolute pleasure, mate. You're a healer, you're a...
Thank you.
I was going to say a modern day magician, but I know you hate that phrase.
I thought you were going to say guru there.
A guru. Do you like guru?
I'll take it over magician.
I take guru.
Take it over magician any day.
You're a guru and Govan, but it's been an absolute pleasure to have you, man. And it's when I first met you for the first time, even when we first spoke, I was like, I knew he's a nice, genuine guy. Then I met you, I heard your story, and even just talking to you, you can tell, man, it's like you're just there. Your heart's in the right place, and you're using. Your skills, you've put so much time and effort into learning and owning your craft, and you're trying to do it to make the world a better place, man, and that's nothing short of honourable, man. So it's an absolute pleasure to share my spare room with you.
Absolutely. Well, listen, it's been amazing being here. Yeah, what a fantastic host, so prepared, so professional, and you just get those vibes off people, you know, when somebody's a good person. And Fivo, or I know you as Jordan, but Jordan, you're an awesome guy, so thank you so much. It's been my pleasure to come and spend the afternoon with you anytime.
The pleasure's all mine, my
All
friend.
right, my friend.
So, before we go, have you got anything you want to promote, where people can find you or get in touch, just so you point that to your face just so that I can pick you up?
Oh, absolutely. So, social medias, you want to find me on Instagram, Fraser_Penman_hypnotist. Facebook, it is the world's most unique hypnotist. And on TikTok, Most Unique Hypnotist. And the last thing I'm going to push is the YouTube channel, again, world's most unique hypnotist. You can buy tickets for my tour of the Fringe this year in Edinburgh, August 15th to August 27th at La Bella Angeli. Showtime is 6 p.m. Tickets are only a tenner. Come down, support it, let's put Scotland on the map and come see some extraordinary things. Fivo will be there. So
I'll be there with bells on, putting Scotland on the map with the big man himself. But it's an absolute pleasure, mate, and I look forward to see what the future holds for you. And I know for a fact, I don't need to be a hypnotist, I don't need to be a fortune teller, I know it's going to be right.
You've got amazing editing skills, so let's see if I can click and you can just make me disappear.
Well, wait, I need to get my catchphrase before you go. Like, subscribe, and don't get wide. Catches.